And we're live here at the Station of Decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
That would make me terrible, Troy.
We're
I
joined
guess
by,
I'm the only one left, and that's Jim Krut.
yes,
Hooray.
it's good to have you here.
Good to be wherever it is I happen to be right now. The mysteries of the ether.
So, did you ever think in 1978, when you're, or maybe even before when you're making the movie, that 40 years later, roughly, you'd still be talking about being the helicopter zombie in Dawn of the Dead?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as soon as that happened, I knew that my future was absolutely mapped out, and that's what I'd be focusing on in about 40, 45 years. Nobody had a clue. Nobody had a bloody clue. Because really, and I tell you, I tell people this all the time. It's not up to the actors. It's not up to the director. It's not up to anybody but the fans. It's like the dog food company, if you'll bear with me here a moment, where the president of the company says, "All right, I've got all the salesmen here, all the marketing people here for the dog food company, and we've got the best team ever assembled in the United States. Yay! And we've got one of the finest labeling processes. Oh, yeah, and the great distribution. Yay! But we're not selling any dog food. Why is that?" And it got very quiet in the room. And finally, the little guy in the back raises his hand and said, "Sir, dogs don't like it." That's the same story with any successful film. I don't mean to imply that fans are dogs because I'm a fan too. But if people don't like it, if they don't celebrate it and talk about it to their friends and say, "I might see that a second, third, or 100th time," it's not going to happen. So you can promote it as much as you want. And sure, you'll get some initial success, but 40 some years later, I mean, last weekend in Pittsburgh, they celebrated Living Dead weekend with, other
Yeah.
George Romero films as well as Dawn of the Dead. Huge success, probably one of the biggest turnouts ever. Of course, some that's forced by the buyout of the Monroeville Mall where the convention is held, bought out by another large retailer who I guess won't be making any changes perhaps for a year. So we'll see what happens.
So you said you yourself are a fan. So how did it come about? And did you know George Romero? Did you know of Night of the Living Dead?
Oh, I was familiar with Night of the Living Dead. It had happened, roughly 10 years earlier. I'd gone to college with Tom Savini. We worked in theater together there in Pittsburgh at Point Park. After college, a couple months, I was in the Army, and so was Tom. And we both ended up in Vietnam. He went over as a combat photographer. Tom Savini, for anybody who's not familiar, is the makeup and special effects person who um, now has his own school, the Douglas School of Makeup and Effects. But he did most all of the effects in Dawn of the Dead. Of course, he's going on to do a lot of other films as well. But Tom went over as a combat photographer. I went over as a combat medic. A couple years later, you never know if you're going to see anybody again. And I ended up back in Pittsburgh, and I ran into Tom. And Tom said, "Jim, I've got this great role for you." I said, "Okay, tell me about it." Because I was working in theater and I was used to doing a variety of roles, but I'd never really done film before. And he said, "Well, you remember, Night of the Living Dead." Of course, everybody remembers Night of the Living Dead. He said, "Well, same guy, George Romero is directing this one. It's like a sequel. It's called Dawn of the Dead." And I said, "Okay." Now, right now, you're probably thinking, well, I'm sure you just jumped right on that because you knew that in 40, 45 years, it was going to be like, riding a log down a river or something. You just had no idea what was going to happen. But you have to imagine at the time, what was Night of the Living Dead? That's what George was known for. And then some people kind of looked askew at horror. And there was some pretty gruesome stuff going on in there, some groundbreaking things going on in there, social commentary. So sometimes you get associated with a project that's maybe a little too far out there, and you find out that nobody wants to work with you again.
Oh,
So it's easy to look back on it now and say, oh, well, everybody knew it was going to be wonderful. No, you knew that you might be taking a risk, and it could affect your future, your career. You had no idea what was going to be happening, except I'd worked with Tom before. We'd worked in theater. I trusted him. Uh, I was very excited to make a film. And I didn't meet George until I got on set. So Tom pretty much cast me.
Yeah. Now we've had Tom on a couple times, and he's talked in other interviews that that's he would take memories from being in the war to make his gore look what he thought was accurate.
Yeah, that's easy enough to do, and some of those things you don't forget. You remember the imagery, you remember the scenes or the impact of things, so to speak. So yeah, I think he said when George asked him about doing the makeup and effects on Dawn, Tom said, well, he said was George asked him, how many ways can you think of to kill people? And George said, Tom said, well, maybe 100, something like that. George said, okay, let's start working. I see somebody liked Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead. I think that was one of the best and most brilliant remakes I've seen too. I love the folks who were in it, and I just thought he did a great job with the story.
Yeah, I think it's great too, and I agree. I think sometimes it's overlooked because a lot of people are down on remakes in general, but I think that's one of the best remakes because it follows the same story, but it's also different in its own way. And you get a little more effects, and
the little
I
tweaks
love
are
it.
good in it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think of George Romero when you first meet him? Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. If the person who is in charge of a film that you're in, he's got all these major responsibilities, and you just want to make sure you don't screw up and get thrown off the set. So you kind of watch and see how he treats other people.
Priority one.
You see how he directs. You see how things are set up, and you can learn very quickly just by watching someone. The other thing about George is he chose people who knew what the heck they were doing, like Tom. And when it would come to a scene like mine, or like Tasso swinging down across the mall on a rope, with a big hammer, a mallet, it's a matter of timing, and it's a matter of safety, and it's a matter of getting everything right. And George can only, he's focused on the big picture, but those kinds of details he left up to Tom. So like the first part of my scene where I come out from under the airplane wing and hear the noise, that was all George. When I got to the helicopter, and for those who are not familiar, climb up, as a zombie, just drawn to the Rogers filling up the helicopter with gas. And I happened to be going toward him, stepping up on a bunch of boxes. Helicopter blade just whacks the top of my head off, and George looked at that scene. He loved it. He liked it. He laughed. He was smiling. He was happy. He was a happy man. And I thought, if he's a happy man, I'm a happy man. I had a second change of clothes in case we had to do retakes or anything, but we did everything in one take. And my only disappointment was that was it for my scene and my presence in the movie, because you can't imagine the juice you feel when you're after a couple of weeks of getting head casts and preparation, makeup, and all this other cool stuff, and then bam, you do your shoot, it's over. It's a little like when you're performing in a theater. You've been working on this rehearsal for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then it's over. There's a curtain. You open the curtain, and everybody applauds. You just want to keep doing things. But it wasn't until 25 years later or so that I did the next film. just as a
Why
matter
was
of.
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
saying about that, about going back into film acting. Did you leave acting altogether? Or did you continue to be a stage performer?
Combination. I worked with two different theater companies in Pittsburgh while I was there, and I was in Pittsburgh for about 7 years at that segment of my life. But during that time, I got married. We had our first daughter, and the pollution at the time from the mills in Pittsburgh was a little horrendous. I mean,
Oh,
you could drive down the parkway along the river, the mills were on the other side, and you'd think in the headlights you were seeing snow, but they were little metal
wow.
flakes.
Gee.
And I thought, this is not necessarily the best place to raise a young kid. So I just quit. I quit theater, touring, and we picked up and we just left. And I went back to central Pennsylvania and I just said, well, work it out from here. So it was a matter of doing a few different kinds of things. My degree was in journalism and communications. I worked with 3M Company for a bit. I edited a weekly newspaper for a couple years. Went on to edit a statewide magazine, Penlands Magazine in Pennsylvania. About 600,000 people read that every month. So, the responsibilities changed, but I had to keep feeding these kids. Once you start feeding them, you got to keep feeding them.
Yeah, they get used to it after a while.
Oh, man. And then the clothes change. I don't know if you've ever noticed that about kids, but, shoes, everything changes.
Got a habit of growing sometimes,
Yeah. But it's a good thing. They're good kids. We got a couple daughters, and we're very pleased the way they turned out. But because of the family responsibilities and new situations, pretty much 24-hour call being on demand, it was a little difficult to do anything where you could set aside a couple weeks at a time to do rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
And for some independent films, particularly, the schedule you couldn't plan because we're trying to recreate the outdoors as it was last year at this same time, and we're lagging behind, so we got to get it this weekend and that sort of stuff. But I did an audition for a film called The Guatemalan Handshake. It was being filmed in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I finished work, went up to do an audition, and I was filling out the paperwork. And they said, okay, well, we're ready for you. And I said, they said, well, you finish it later. And I said, okay. So I went in and there's the director and his assistant, and we start to talk, and oh, wow, I think we might be able to use you as the power plant technician. I said, well, whatever, and we'll let you know. So I got a call back a little later that evening. Why didn't you tell us you were the helicopter zombie in Dawn of the Dead?
That's tremendous.
I said, I didn't think it was pertinent. If you want me for this role, that's fine. Then I'll be the character for that role. But I'm not going around with the top of my head missing, for that role.
Or a shirt, I am the helicopter zombie with
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
So, how about do you like to prepare for the zombie? Like, is there any direction given, like how to walk as a zombie? Is that something that you prepare for?
I could lie like hell on this one. So, I trust Tom. There's no script. I don't have a script. So I thought, well, okay, I guess, let's just make things up as we go along a little bit. We did all the makeup stuff at a couple sessions at Tom's workshop and the head cast. And finally, we get to the Monroeville airport and get everything ready to go. And then we sit around for a day and it's raining and they're behind. And so come back tomorrow and we'll try it again tomorrow. And tomorrow comes and, it's sitting around and Tom's out there. He's out, running around with George, and I'm sitting there with watching Ken Free hit the coffee machine. And finally, they said, okay, we're ready for you. And Tom comes to get me, and starts leading me out. I said, Tom, now you have to understand, I have not really seen any other zombies in this, ghouls, undead. I had no idea what they were supposed to do, how they're supposed to act. I said, Tom, do these like zombies talk or anything? And Tom said, "No, not really." I said, "Well, do they walk differently, or what do they do?" And he said, "Just do whatever you think a zombie would do." That was
Of course.
pretty much the direction I
Yeah,
got.
do your zombie thing. Okay.
Yeah, why not? I grew up on horror films, Bela Lugosi, Vincent Price, and Boris Karloff, all those folks. Those were like my neighbors. I mean, in my mind, those were my neighbors.
So how close when they cut the head off, like how is that done? How is that effect done?
Tom has some really good illustrations of it in his book, which the first copy was Bizarro. Then it was reissued under a different name. But with that head casting that Tom did in his workshop, he then added just a bit on top. Think of it as, I describe it as a personal pan pizza. And you take that and you cut it into pieces, and then you sew together those pieces with monofilament clear fishing line, but with about like that much space in between. It's still one piece, and that's how it appears. And then when the moment comes for the blade to hit, someone off camera has another piece of monofilament line attached to that piece. And Tom gives the cue. Tom's behind the boxes with another guy. They have the hand pumps with the fake blood, and the tubes run up the back of my trousers, shirt, and they're put into the pieces that are embedded, the blood channels that are embedded into the top of the application on there. And when Tom says, "Okay, run," the guy starts running, pulls this top piece off, and it comes off because of that spacing as a series of chunks. So at that same moment, these guys are pumping furiously, and you'll see the two streams of blood coming out. And that's why you see two, because there are two guys pumping furiously with these hand pumps with the fake blood coming out. It was fun. I got to tell you, it was fun.
Yeah. So how long is that process to put on the head?
Well, Tom made up the prosthetics based on the head casting. I'll tell you about the head casting first, because that's covering your face with like alginate, which is, for those not familiar, it's a plastic type material that picks up all the details in your face. So you can really get a really good mask and a good look. And however, if you take that off, once it's firmed up and you lay it down, it sort of relaxes and you lose that shape. So once that's on and that's firmed, then you have to cover everything with plaster. And the plaster then holds that alginate. And so Tom did it with a piece of cardboard across the center of my head, did the front part, and then did the back part. The back part was less of a problem. The front part, you have to breathe through all of this, and it takes maybe half an hour. So think of where you're going to breathe. And it's not your ears. it's not other orifices. So anyway, I had a straw. I'm breathing through a straw, and you're completely covered up. So you have to really, really trust the person you're working with, because that's your lifeline. This stuff starts to firm up and harden on you, and you really can't move much, can't twitch, and scrunch your eyes around it. It just ruins it. We did that, did the back part. 2 days later, Tom gave me a call, said, "Jim, just a slight problem. The plaster cracked and we have to do it over again. Can you come over to the workshop?"
No.
And that's when I realized I was probably claustrophobic. I did not like breathing just through a straw.
It doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be a fan of that either.
I decided I didn't want to do that again after we did the second time. All right, yeah, we did it. Okay, we got through it. I was just hoping there wasn't going to be a third time. So from there, Tom did the head cast. He did the prosthetics on the top, and once that was together, it was simply a matter of, it was going to fit. Once I got on set, that went on, but then you have to smooth out the connecting pieces. Where it joins the rest of your head, the beard and mustache and all that. kind of go together to fill in some of those lines, which might say, "Yeah, I see he's wearing some kind of mask. Yeah, I see that." Because people look for details.
So the you mentioned, growing up like with Boris Karloff and all the Bela Lugosi. I think people today, because the head's a little square, they think Frankenstein and stuff. Did you think
Oh,
of that at all at the time? Like any kind of like an ode to Karloff's Frankenstein?
No, not really. Well, honestly, it's a little hard to say what goes through your head when you're trying. It's about a 2-minute walk, and that's where I'm, building my character. Be the zombie you want to be. Be all you can be as a zombie. So whatever things come to mind, like, okay, if this is a person who's dead, they're stiff. What kind of dead people do you know who are stiff? Okay, well, one is Frankenstein. Monster was kind of stiff. Why? Because it was hard to move or just responding to things. So that might have had some element to it. Of course, I'd worked in theater, so you have to sometimes change characters very quickly or get into characters very quickly. It's a little difficult to put it down to any one thing, except I will say in terms of the squared off application and such, there was a lot of humidity on set that day. It did not look like that when we first had it together and it was all applied. It was a more natural kind of rounded effect. But it had been raining, drizzling, and Tom, I think, attributed it to the humidity that it kind of fluffed up because of the material that was all made of. So yeah, if it's a Frankenstein look, hey, I'll go with it. I'll go
I
with
like
it.
it. It's a happy accident that people, find Frankenstein.
yeah.
Tooth Brain. What's Jim's favorite? So, what is your favorite zombie film?
Favorite zombie film? I have to, I have to say Dawn.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's
Not just because you're here.
Yeah.
no,
We've said it before. It's
no,
it's
not just
our
because
favorite.
I'm in it either, but George never called them zombies. In that they were ghouls, they were the undead. There was not really a definition of what a zombie was, other than if like in White Zombie or the Haitian zombies, where people were drugged, buried, turned into slaves, and then they became pretty much like farm animals.
Yep.
And they had no thoughts, and they moved strongly, but they would push wheels and do all this kind of. But the ghouls, the undead, I think calling them that opened up people's minds to, oh, it's not just Haitian type zombies. What's causing these people to rise up from the dead, and why are they eating flesh? Why are they doing this sort of thing? So I think it gives a lot back to the audience to, if you'll pardon the expression, to chew on. They, unless you leave some mysteries for the audience, if you answer all the questions, bam, 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 it gets kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? How did this happen? Well, there was this star that came out of Pluto, and it's this meteorite, bam, and then, well, maybe that was it, but we don't know. We don't know what's causing it, and that puts you in the position. And I'll back to a radio interview that George had done in New York once, where somebody said, "Zombies, why are your zombies so scary?" And George's answer was, because they're your neighbors. Now, if you think about who you call on, if you have a problem, it's usually going to be your neighbors. But if your neighbors are the problem, who do you call on? So it works in a couple different levels. One is your resources are gone. Your friends and support network are gone. And secondly, that network is the threat. That's the enemy. That's what you're trying to get away from.
I think that's why so many of the people who played the zombies are still remembered today. You know, some people that are really just in a scene.
Mhm.
And in most modern zombie movies, people don't think of all these different zombies. It's kind of like they're just a mass of zombies. But in the Romero zombie movies, people, you know, they remember the Hare Krishna zombie. They remember you. They remember, you know, basically all the zombies in the movie because they still you could still see them as like you're saying, as the neighbors. You could still see what they were like when they were alive. They all kind of have their own personality, even though they are zombies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you'd
They're
want an
they're
action
they're neighbors.
figure of each different zombie. They
Yeah.
were so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're unique.
Yep.
You could say, oh yeah, that guy worked at the gas station. Oh, that's a nurse. You know, all this cool stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It was fun kind of,
Oh, the nurse
like
zombie
looking
too,
at
yeah.
him and kind of thinking about like, hey, I bet that guy was like the coach of a football team or something,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You could identify with them. And when you
Yep.
do that, you get pulled in. And to me, that's one of the major strengths of it. I find it interesting too that you had Dawn of the Dead, you had Day of the Dead, and then you had, things like 28 Days Later and, World War Z and these masses of fast moving zombies and even the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Everything's running.
Yeah, too fast for
You
me.
can't really identify with those as people. They're just, they might as well
Just
be
a
a pack of
mass.
rats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yep.
even World War Z, they're even kind of presented as like a mass of ants, how they kind of
Yeah.
climb up and around.
Very much so. Um, During a convention, I ran into Jeremy Ambler, who is one of the walkers in
Yeah.
The Walking Dead. And it occurred to me, okay, we had the slow moving neighborly zombies, your friendly neighborhood zombie. And then you had the fast moving zombies. And now you have The Walking Dead, which was immensely popular.
Mhm.
Why is that?
Made
And of course, you
basically
have,
a Romero zombie movie
Oh,
made
yeah.
into a TV
and the
show.
reason for that is you have the tie in with Greg Nicotero, who worked with
Mhm.
Tom Savini and George. So you have that as a carryover. And, Greg picked up on all the success of what the Romero zombies succeeded in being and in doing. So there's kind of a fun thing. Sometimes if Jeremy and I were at a convention, we would, maybe do a little panel on what was it like to be a zombie in a George Romero movie, and what did it take to become a walker in The Walking Dead? And I'd say, well, Tom said, just go ahead, be your best zombie. You do what you want to do. And then Jeremy would go on for like 10 minutes of, well, you get in this room and everybody walks, and then, okay, don't do that. You should do this. Don't do that. Don't everybody drag your left foot and bend your arm, like that. Don't everybody do that. Okay, all of you 99 people with your heads like that, can you go to the other room? And you, who's just kind of going like that, all right, you come with me. So, I mean, it was like a zombie scores of selection process and trying to identify things that might look good on screen as well. But on another layer behind that was, okay, now that you've got some good movements here, bring your own personality, whatever that might be, to the character. I think you have this time where, the neighbor zombies, if we may call them that, seem to be very successful, identifiable. You had the fast moving zombies, and people don't remember those
Yep.
individual zombies. And then you
No,
get into
not
The
one.
Walking Dead, and you have certain very specific kinds of zombies in The Walking Dead, or ghouls, or undead Walking
Yep.
Dead.
It is interesting when you mention that because I don't know about if they're called zombies in Day of the Dead, but definitely Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, they're not. And Romero's really the person that created the whole mythology of the modern zombie. Before, like you're saying, they're like the voodoo kind of zombie, Haitian
Mhm.
zombie. And then so the guy that really like reinvents that and basically is been copied, ever since. It's created its own, genre of movies. Didn't even refer to them as zombies, at least in the first two movies.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Let's see. Mad Max. Jim is a great advocate for Dawn of the Dead. If it wasn't for him, Weekend of the Dead wouldn't have happened.
Well, thank you, Mad Max. Weekend of the Dead is now in its 10th year in Manchester, in the UK. And the first year, they were thinking about doing a show because a lot of the folks in the UK and in Europe really love the Romero films, but they couldn't all get over to the US to see the actors, to see George, to see all. So they wanted to start a small convention involving some of the Romero characters so people wouldn't have to travel so far. So they had set up the idea of doing like maybe a 6-hour show in a nightclub, the Fab Cafe in Manchester. And they said, well, David Crawford, who's in Dawn of the Dead, is one of those newscasters at the beginning. He's in Germany at that time, and we can probably get him over here for $100 or $200, something like that. So he could be a guest. I said, well, you thinking of anybody else? They said, well, we have no budget. We're getting started. And I just said, well, Marcus, and that's Marcus Lewis, who became the promoter. I said, Marcus, I have a question for you. How far are you from Stonehenge? He said, about 40 minutes. I said, you take me to Stonehenge, I will fly over and I'll be part of that first weekend of the dead.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to remember that, Manchester's at what, 4 or 5 hours north of the London area where Stonehenge and such is. But we got to the Fab Cafe. There were just David Crawford and I. But the folks there were so passionate, so dedicated to Dawn of the Dead, particularly because we were there, 2 characters from it. I more than paid my airfare from that 6-hour period to be there. And I just wanted to do it because those folks were so absolutely passionate and trying to help feed that passion. That's really what it comes down to. And said, well, I hope you were able to make enough, off the ticket prices and the various things you were able to sell to maybe actually get another convention started next year. And, if I can help you with anything, let me know. If you need any names, contacts. And they said, well, you're going to be here too. And I said, well, I was just here. That was me who was, who just here. And they said, no, one of the fans is going to take care of your hotel and your airfare.
Oh, wow.
To bring you back the following year.
That's great.
And I thought, that is incredible passion. I said, I'm not sleeping with anybody I don't know. First of all, let's get that straight.
Right off the bat.
Came back the next year, been back a couple times, and this is the 10th and final year for Weekend of the Dead, and it's all been Romero based. They brought over everyone from Tom Savini a couple times, Greg Nicotero. One year, Laurie Cordill was not able to make it, so they did this reenactment from Day of the Dead. And although Laurie was somewhat ill at home, when her lines came up, they broadcast her from home doing her lines.
Wow.
I mean, that's how cool this event was.
That's awesome.
And the people were just so passionate. It was just amazing. It's a love fest. People who really, really, truly appreciate it. And thanks for asking the question or posing the point there, Mad Max. I'll never forget Weekend of the Dead. I love it.
That's amazing, and it seems like so many people associated with the whole Romero world. Like it's kind of its own little family.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We did a show in Maryland. George was there. We had Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead.
Oh, wow.
It might have even been Diary of the Dead. It was huge. And one room was like, okay, here's your Dawn of the Dead people, and here's your Night of the Living Dead people over there. And I'm looking around this room, and I'm thinking, all these people, people are coming to see them and maybe see a little bit of me. And I thought, all of this is because of one man. And that man's in the other room, and that man's George Romero. And I hadn't seen him in 20 or more years.
Wow.
And his line had started hours before he even showed up. And so it went on until he was done. And finally, I went over to see him because I had my Ultimate Dawn of the Dead DVD box set.
Awesome.
And I went over and reintroduced myself. And I said, George, I don't know if you remember me, but I was the helicopter zombie in Dawn. And he just smiled. He gave me a big hug and he was laughing. He said, "That's fantastic. That's great." I'll tell you, my heart soared like the eagle. It was
That's
just a
awesome.
remarkable experience. He signed my boxed set, and to me, that was nirvana. That was, I know what the fanboy experience is. I am one. Okay.
That's as good as it gets right there.
Yeah. So I never forgot that moment, and just how you ask about George, a wonderful, warm, gracious man, intelligent, but also kind of fiercely dedicated to the goals he had in mind. We just finished a film last year, which is George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary. And that was something 5 years in production. And it's a story about the making of Resident Evil. And you'll think it's a strange concept, but why George Romero did not get to direct the Resident Evil film. And if you have an opportunity to see it, it's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking. You get so many insights, not just into Resident Evil or into George Romero, but the studio business, the interaction, what it takes to actually do films, to make things happen, and how George stuck by his principles. And I think anybody who's a fan of George Romero really should put that on the must-see list.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it.
I think it's on either Netflix or Amazon, somewhere out there. But
I'll find it.
Absolutely. I think you'll get a huge amount out of it, whether you're a Resident Evil fan or not.
Yeah, I've never really played the games or seen. Well, I've seen the movies, I guess, but Troy was a big fan of the games.
Yeah, I love the games. I think I only watched the first movie, but I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought, really, in a sense, that's a brilliant piece of inventive creation, in that you have the Romero verse and the Resident Evil verse. You've got huge audiences on both sides.
Without a doubt. Yep.
And when you can bring them together, you got to have a hit on your hands.
But
they did it. They did it right. And again, 5 years in the making just to get that done.
So were you on set at all after that? I know, like, you're not in other scenes, but did you stay for any more of the filming of Dawn of the Dead?
Only at the airport. I was never at the Monroeville Mall for any of those scenes or any other locations. As I like to say, when my ship came in, I was at the airport.
So, what was the experience like when you first see the finished movie? Did you go to the premiere?
Yeah. Well, it was not necessarily the official premiere. It was a showing for cast and crew, and the theater was absolutely packed. And for me, wondering, am I still going to be in it? I think everybody has that, because you don't know all the locations being shot, all the scenes, how much editing is being done. Well, actually, the color's off on that one. Let's cut it and move on. Yeah, it's going to be tighter if we do this and that. You just don't know. So there's a lot of anxiety as well as anticipation. But I'd worked in theater for a while in Pittsburgh, so I knew a lot of the other actors. I'd worked with them in theater, like Dave Crawford, Dave Early, Nick Tallow is one of the bikers. So I knew a lot of these folks, and to see them on the screen was just it. It was heartwarming and a thrill for me to see them. And I thought, I wonder when I'm going to show up in here. And as the minutes tick by, I'm thinking, did I make it? Did I make it? I guess I made it.
Yeah, you did.
And there was a good response and yay and laughing and cheering and all that kind of cool stuff. Just I'll tell you, there's nothing else quite like it. It's a rush. It's truly a rush.
So even though at that time you didn't continue like in film, did you Dawn of the Dead? It's in magazines, and it comes out eventually in home video. And so, did you like collect any of that stuff? Did you like buy any of the magazines that you saw the movie mentioned in?
I did. Funny story, probably around 1995 or so, something like that. Dawn was out on VHS. I didn't even have a copy of it. But my wife saw a copy at, I don't know, it's a store that's no longer in business. All I can tell you, a chain.
Like Blockbuster or something like that.
Blockbuster.
Was it like where you
yeah.
could buy it, FYE
Yes.
maybe or something like that?
Oh, maybe.
So my wife says it's before Christmas, and she's getting this for me as a surprise Christmas present. I love this woman. I still do. I still do. 46 years later, whatever. She's checking out with this, and the guy who's at the counter checking her out says, "Oh my God, that's my favorite movie." I said, I'm getting it for my husband. He's in it. She said, Really? Your husband's in this? What does he do? And she said, well, he gets his head cut off with, the helicopter blade. And it's a surprise for him. He says, can I meet him? Can I just meet him and say hello and talk to him for a little bit? And she says, actually, this is kind of a secret present for him, and I don't want him to know anything about it until after Christmas. After that, do you think we could might be able to meet him? Well, I'll ask him.
Hey, after Christmas, I want this guy.
I'll ask him. So I get this. I think it's wonderful. And she tells me about the guy who checked her out. Well, checked out the video. And I said, all right, why not? So she had the phone number, gave him a call. And he said he'd like to come over. And I said, yeah, just come on over to the house and we'll sit down for 10 minutes, whatever. Well, he comes in with a big tripod, 2 cameras.
Wow.
To do this interview, to say hello, as it were. I thought, because it's the first time I think I was really recognized for being in Dawn of the Dead. And I was just not used to people, wanting to meet me to talk about the scene, talk about the movie, talk about George, any of that. And so we covered a lot of that in this discussion. I said, the only thing I'd like is maybe a copy of that. I may have it somewhere. I'll have to look for it. But that was kind of like the first realization. It had been playing at midnight showings, at drive-ins, at a variety of places. And I think all of those elements helped to build something of a cult status with Dawn of the Dead. So.
Oh, yeah. And back then it was tough to find it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that movie so much. I remember bugging, Neal's my little bro. So bugging our mom to take me to go see it again and again and again and again. I loved it so much.
How old were you when you first saw it?
Oh, geez. What year? 76?
Eight.
Was it? 78? Yeah, so
Came
I would
out
have been
79 in US, yeah.
Oh,
about
okay.
11. That's
11,
not
12.
bad. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
it was so great. I love that movie so much. I still get the same charge when I see it now. It's just so good.
What surprises me, it was I think limited to audiences 18 years old and
yeah, because
older.
I think they released it unrated as opposed to R-rated. Yeah.
Oh, they may have. I
And
think
it said
that
it
was
does
the
not.
advantage of a drive-in. They never looked who was in the back seat.
That's right.
You have a little kid in the back seat, it didn't matter.
Nah, Well, you put them in the trunk, you don't have to pay for them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And as long as you let them out of the trunk, they get to watch the movie too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember our uncle used to have a van, so we'd grab all the neighborhood kids, throw them in, and like I think it was $5 for like a carload of people
Oh
for
yeah.
the drive-in, and like that we'd all have lawn chairs and just grab food and munch out. So
That's
it
how
was,
they would take me along instead of like a babysitter's. So I'd be like 4 or 5 seeing these movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my option. You could either stay home with Neal or you can bring him along and we'll go to the drive. All right, come on, Neal, you're coming.
Drive in.
Yep.
I turned out
Well,
fine.
I just did a show last weekend in Abingdon, Maryland, at the Last Toy Store.
Ooh.
Films, stuff that I would, if I had a room that was just all cool stuff, that would be the room, the Last Toy Store. But the folks who came in to get autographs and photos and things like that, and there was a young man there, and I said, well, I think he was there with his father, and I said, well, how old were you when you first saw Dawn of the Dead? And he, about 7. And I said, well, then you had good parents if they watched it with you. They brought you up right. As long as the parents are there watching during that and saying, that's not quite real. I have to have you a quick story. I didn't let my own daughter watch it, my younger daughter watch it till she was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And on her 16th birthday, I said, well, Angelica, what would you like to do for your birthday then? It's a big day for you. She said, Dad, can we watch your movie today?
Nice.
And I said, oh, if that's what you want to do, we're going to do it. Let's get a big pizza, lots of sauce, the red sauce,
Yeah.
So we plug in Dawn of the Dead, and we're watching it in the basement. There's a lot of gunfire and a lot of shooting and stuff like that going on at the very beginning. People getting blown away.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep, you're right.
she's a sensitive and very intelligent young lady, and she's wincing. And after a few minutes, she turns to me and she says, Dad, you don't get shot in this, do you? And I said, oh no, honey, I don't get shot. It's okay. It's okay.
So, what was her reaction to the scene when she does see you?
When the scene came up, she went, ah! Can we watch that again? Can we
That's awesome.
Can we watch that again?
That's the best reaction.
Yeah.
Well, what did at the time though in '79? What did your friends and family think then when the movie comes out?
That's interesting because most of them hadn't watched it.
Uh-huh.
And they knew I was working in theater, or as my mother would sometimes say at the time, all this is nice, but are you going to get like, a real job sometime? When I had to support the family, okay, then I got a regular job. But, I was getting paid working in theater. It just was a lot of, it's repertory theater. We were traveling. We went everywhere from the O'Hare Convention Center in Chicago to the Spalotto Festival to MIT.
Oh, wow.
And we performed everywhere on the East Coast, and even in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
So it was a lot of travel, a lot of being on the road. We kept 7 plays in our heads all the time. And these were all original plays. If we needed to, we could shorten them, lengthen them. And on any given day, we could do any of those plays. And it was a small company of about 4 actors.
Wow.
So we were like an elite unit that we could pick up, go do just about anything, and change it around. So it was a fascinating experience. You get used to the audiences and that interchange, that energy transfer with the audience when they're really with you, and when they would rather you just got off the stage instead of standing up there doing this long speech that was written for you. Just go away. So, but I loved live theater. I love working in the films.
John Dugan, a mutual friend of ours, sends in a question over here on Facebook. Tell him he still owes me a pint. Wait, Maybe I owe him a pint. We're both old and forgetful, so tell him he owes me one. And he
That's
also has
John
yours.
who? John who?
He does add you're
John
one of
had
the
a
nicest
pint
guys in
for every time he heard that.
the
No, John and I did a show down in Atlanta once, and it was a very, very slow show. So we were sitting at the bar afterward, and I said, "Have you ever had Jameson's Irish whiskey?" And he said, "No, I haven't had that." So barkeep set him up, and I just remember John saying, "Are you trying to kill me?" But we'll share a pint hopefully sometime in the days or months ahead. I admire John. He's a great human being
Yeah,
One
we
of our
love
and a
John.
favorite.
very talented actor too.
Yes, he's great. He's great. We are friends of John. It was funny. So both Troy and I have known John for years, and we knew him, from the conventions, and we became friends, both of us. But he didn't know for years that we were brothers, even though we were around him for like 3 or 4
Yeah, he
years, like
never
all the
made that
time.
connection with us.
No, but it was
Oh,
just kind of funny. But John, Reddy, that's an interesting question. Where do now if there's a zombie apocalypse, where do we go since malls are dead?
Ooh.
Well, that might even be better now because there won't be
think of
anybody
it. Think of
going.
it this way: if malls are dead, maybe they'll rise again too.
That's
That's
true.
very
Well,
true. That's true. That's the reboot idea. You can the rise of dead of the mall.
I mean, you can go to a strip mall. I guess you
That's
could
true.
do that. Um, but
You can't go on Amazon on your phone or something. That doesn't quite
yeah,
work.
that would be.
nah, you
Or
have to go to one of
Temu.
the big warehouse stores, I guess, where they have
Oh
everything
yeah.
and only a couple entrances. That makes it a little easier, perhaps.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to want to go there, so it's like, what do they say? The place is too popular. Nobody goes there anymore.
So true.
There's someone in oh yeah, here we go. Bobby wants to know what was your experience like on The Slasher Nurse?
Oh.
Interestingly, I was in the film Return of the Slasher Nurse,
Oh.
and about a year, 2 years later, I ran into the director, Dave Kerr, and he said, "Jim, we're gonna shoot The Slasher Nurse, and I have this role for you." And I said, "Wait a minute, I was just in Return of the Slasher Nurse. You already made Slasher Nurse." He said, "I'm going to make it again with a bigger budget, different people. You know, it's good, a different kind of concept." I said, "Okay." So I went down, I think around Orange, Virginia, and man, did he have a haunted looking place to do the shooting, and I played the guy who was the property owner. I loved that role. It wasn't a big role, but it was just fun. And during the rainstorms, because the weather was just crazy, we'd all sit on the porch. And Jordan Miller, I also worked with in The Only Ones and some other work. He's there playing guitar. We're all just kind of singing along. People are having a great time, even with the rain. It's just like I can't describe it. It's one of those things that also brings people together. You get to know the cast more so than if you're okay. You go in, bam, you're done. Next, boom, boom.
Oh.
Here we are all together, just kind of waiting through the rain, having a bite to eat, something to drink. Okay, let's run this. Let's do this before the lightning comes again, and we do this section. And I really like the people I worked with. One of the folks was Austin Green, and I'd known Austin before that, and later we both ended up working in Whistle to the Maples, which is I don't think it's released yet,
Oh.
but they did a premiere, kind of a pre-premiere at Creature Feature Weekend in Gettysburg back in March. He had a wonderful role in that, and it's one of those things where sometimes you find yourself working with the same people in other films, and it gives you, I don't know, there's a connection. And when you mentioned earlier, Neal, about the family feeling with all the Romero folks,
Mhm.
it's definitely there. It's definitely there. We all have, I think, a shared gratitude and appreciation that the fans have said, we want to see you come out. We want you to do conventions. We'd like to hear more stories about what went on, the background. Um, Tell us something you haven't told anybody before. Well, then I will have told it. I can't do it again.
Oh yeah.
But there is that shared bond, like with the machete zombie and the nurse zombie. You do a couple shows together, as a unit, like we did at Bazaar Atlantic City, Bazaar AC. Ken Foray, Lenny and Sharon, and I forget who else. Maybe Mike Christopher, the Hare Krishna zombie. But, we're all there, and you have a shared past. But when fans come in, they see you as a group,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
as
Yep. They're
part. Oh,
bound
you're
to.
part of that family. Yes, yes, yes. And there's that fan aspect again, kind of bringing us all together.
And you mentioned, you had to be at least 16 to go see when the first movie comes out. Is
Mhm.
it weird that today, especially with the rise of The Walking Dead at the time, and like you'd go to Walmart and there'd be zombie t-shirts and like zombie lunch boxes, and it's completely different because when we talked to Ken Faree, he really said it kind of hurt his career at the time because it was seen as like one step above doing pornography, being in
Yeah,
an
yeah.
unrated horror film. And today it's, very much accepted. It's a completely different thing.
Well, that helps reinforce what I was saying about Night of the Living Dead. What if you're associated with that? And
Mhm.
Ken and I are great friends, and I totally agree with them. You didn't know what you were getting into, but suddenly digital media makes more things possible. Streaming media means that anybody can watch. You don't have to show your ID as long as you can
So true.
pay $4 or $5 into the TV box, as it were, and you can watch anything that's on there. So a lot of people are getting exposed to films like the Legion of Decency would not allow back in the day, either in terms of age restrictions or sexual ratings or violence ratings. And it's interesting too that in Europe there was a lot of Italian financing for Dawn of the Dead, and in exchange they got the European distribution rights. And of course they made changes to the film. Dario Argento sort of redirected, including changes to the music and eliminating my scenes. Why?
Oh,
Oh,
And,
I,
and
I
other
I knew
scenes.
he takes out like all the comedy of the movie, but I didn't realize he took out
oh,
Yeah.
that scene.
that's weird.
But I did a show in Germany and I thought, well, the European cut, I'm not in it. Why am I even here? All the folks there knew me because they all are that passionate that they had seen the U.S., the George Romero director's cuts. They wanted to see all the versions.
Oh, sure.
So even though people like myself might have been cut out of the European version, they still knew who we were, who our characters were, and how that storyline and the pacing was different than the European cut and the European sort of, I wouldn't say decency standards, but how they looked at what movies should be and what they should not contain, and things of horror and such.
I have to say my computer is freezing up, so I can't see anybody at the moment. But so hopefully everything is going fine. But since
Yeah,
you going
StreamYard's a little wonky tonight. I don't
Yeah,
know what's
I think I'm
going
not
Uh,
on.
having the best connection here, but since you went back to movies now, it seems like you've been having a good time.
yeah.
And what's it like though to work with young directors of today, people who grew up watching movies like Dawn of the Dead and that inspired them to make movies. I assume of most of them you meet at conventions.
A number of them I have. I have to say that some people have said, "Oh, I have this great role for you." Well, Tom gave me a great role. That worked for me. But oftentimes, what that great role is, hey, what we're going to do is cut the top of your head off. And I said, thank you, but no. Really, I protect that as my brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in all honesty, I don't want the impact of Dawn of the Dead to be diluted, if it were, by somebody sort of picking up on that effect. Say, great. No. So different directors have different goals, and some of them, really emphasize the storyline. Some of them emphasize special effects, the deaths, the kills, because they are going for different audiences, whether they're independent directors or not. They all want their films to be successful and to make money. And so they, in a sense, cater to the audiences that they know best. And that's what they'll try to incorporate into the films that they make. Whistle to the Maples. I can't wait for that one to come out. I think it's probably one of my favorite roles.
Oh, okay.
And Whistle to the Maples. Still working with Tom Robinault and as director, and we just shot that last year. But I think it's going to be a terrific film when it emerges again. I saw the preview parts, and I can't say enough good about it. Other directors have other things in mind, but when somebody writes a role based on you as a person and a character, it's like putting on a comfortable shoe. And then you don't have, it's not so much a matter of how do I create this character as, wow, I can bring out the nuances in the character. And that's one that Tom said he wrote the role for me. So I'm so grateful for that.
That's awesome. So I'm
Yep.
looking forward to that. Yeah. And I did find these, and I'm unfrozen here. This was 2014,
Oh,
June
wow.
14th, oddly enough. So it was almost a.
Wow.
And yeah, this was a panel at Bizarre EC. That's me over in this corner here hosting the panel. So that was a good
Oh,
time.
nice, nice. Yep.
It
Oh,
was
too
heavier at
cool.
the time.
Yeah, a different hat.
A different hat, yeah, a bigger dude, but yeah, it was a very good time. That was a fun convention actually, Bizarre AC. It didn't last too long, unfortunately, but I think just a couple years.
That looks like a fun time.
Yeah,
We,
I was told,
we were a
go
good
on.
group too, and I think because we were kind of identifiable zombies, people
Right.
said, "Oh, we could do them as a package."
Yeah,
And hey, do you know where to get in touch with Sharon? Yeah, but if she'll ever respond, we can find her. I know somebody who knows her and how to get in touch. So tracking down people for some of these shows, because at one point I worked with maybe 4 different agents, and I don't work with agents anymore.
Okay.
I'd rather go at my own pace, my own schedule, and do the things I like to do, do the shows I like to do. Free agent.
I'm happy to hear that. There are exceptions, of course, but I have had bad experiences dealing with even people that I'm friends with their agents will sometimes make things very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. So where can people contact you if they were interested, either having you somewhere, or maybe they have a role for you, or just would like to just say hello?
Well, they could find me on Facebook, same spelling, just right there, Jim Krut, Jimkrut. You can
Not too
find
many
that,
letters, so it's easy.
and if you want to see my website, it's Jim Krut at Hella Zombie HELAZOMBIE.com, and on there I have photos and such from Dawn, comments, information, and such. But if you want to just contact me through Facebook, That's probably the easiest. I don't do a lot of the other social media. I can't keep up with it. I hate to say I'm a busy guy, but I try to do what I do well rather than do a lot of stuff that I can't do very well. So find me on Facebook, Jim Krut. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah,
But thank you.
that's
I
where I'm
appreciate
mostly.
that.
Of course, yeah, and I'll put the links up if people would like to contact you. And this was great. It was fun having you on, talking
Yeah,
with
thank
you,
you
and
so much.
hopefully run into
Well,
you and
thank you so
John
much.
sometime down the future.
Well, I do hope we get together again. And thank you so much for having me. And I thank all the folks who tuned in tonight, had some great questions and comments. It's heartwarming. It truly is. And if it can help you along the way down the road, let me know.
All right, sounds good. I would
Awesome.
appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jim.
All right, we'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
guys.
Have a good night.
Love you.
All right.
Bye now.
Good night.
All right, that was cool, Jim
Oh,
Krut.
too cool. That was
I'm
awesome.
dead. Hella zombie. As a guy from Massachusetts, I'm thinking hella because we say it's hella,
Hella
good
cool.
or whatever, but no, hella is a helicopter zombie.
Yep.
It can work either way. Although you want to spell it hella as in helicopter, not hella Hella. But I'll say it was a hella good zombie. Thanks all the people in the chat tonight.
Yes.
Here. By the way,
you.
since tomorrow is Friday the 13th, Troy.
Oh.
And we have this
I didn't even realize that.
It keeps track of the top. I feel it's cool, but I feel also bad because it keeps track of who's the top 3 people in the chat room or whatever. So anyway,
little competition going on.
Tonight we're gonna have some prizes.
Oh, awesome! I like it.
We're gonna randomly pick one, maybe from the top 3 chatters or whatever. So you'll get a Arbor Day card, which Troy and I will sign if you would like, because you're gonna be signed by Troy and I. Are making this movie Arbor Day, and you'll get a collection. Since it's Friday 13th tomorrow, a collection of Friday 13th stickers. So we've got a bunch of Jason stickers there. He's with an axe. For some reason, a killer clown with a hockey mask on. That one's a little hard to see, but it's a red Friday the 13th. I think it says "Can't wait till Friday."
Oh, nice.
Not a skull and crossbones, a mask and machetes. A little baby Jason, which is kind of cute.
Oh, I dig it.
Just a creepy Jason. And then for some reason, we've got the hard rock Jason with the guitar. So we're gonna get these
need that.
Yeah, we'll get these out later tonight. And maybe we'll start doing this every week with different prizes. Sometimes people send us movies. I've got some pins here. I've got other stickers, so we'll figure that out. All right. So AJ may be joining us in a little bit. He's at work. But we got some stuff here to talk about. Tuesday's my birthday. All right, Bobby. So we'll see. Let's see. Happy early birthday. Yes, thank you, Vagina Wrinkle, to Bobby. All I get is Joe Castro coming to Port. Oh, Joe Castro, our friend.
Nothing wrong with that.
Don't know. Joe Castro made the mask in the one End Zone 2, but it's also in the Once and Future Smash. It's my film. You can no longer get this edition with this limited edition slipcover. You can still get the double disc Blu-ray.
You made it look like it's in 3D.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I have some extra, so maybe if someone wants to pay me some pesos, you could get this, and I will sign it if you want. But you can get the regular one, and you can also get. There's a few of these left. The limited edition End Zone 2 VHS.
Wow. I wouldn't think those. I thought those would fly.
I thought they were all gone, but actually there's a few left. So nice. I'm not sure. I think get those on launchover.com. But yeah. And I know John Dugan came up. John Dugan is in the Once and Future Smash. I have it. Well, very good, Bobby. Got mine. Good man, Dave. I like that Dave guy. There was also I have him around, maybe not down here, might be upstairs, but there was also, for people who do Horror Pack, which is a monthly Blu-ray subscription pack, number 99 and number 100, this was, I think, last year, was limited edition Horror Pack Blu-ray of Endzone 2 and Once and Future Smash. They were
wow.
separate. It was a separate Blu-rays.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I may have some news about these movies in the very near future, as well as another movie that I produced. But I cannot talk about it yet. But perhaps it'll be streaming somewhere. We'll find out. It's boom. All right. Get that. All right. Let's see here. So something I've been asking people, and you can do this in the future, every week. If you've got an independent horror trailer of yours you would like us to play here, send it over. You can send it to me on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on Friendster. You can send it to me on my Grindr, or you can email it to me at withoutyourhead@gmail.com. And instead of just playing it, I think we're going to play it where we can all watch it.
Ooh.
And we're going to give our honest reviews of these. That may be bad. I don't know.
Be prepared just in case.
Yeah, we'll probably like it. I mean, we're nice guys, but if AJ's here, you never know. He's very honest and he's kind of a hateful dude. No, he's a good guy. I'm just letting AJ know that the guest is off if he wants to jump on. And we might share the link too if anybody would like to jump on with us.
All right. Well, let me refill my mug.
All right. So before we start showing these movies, I'm going to send out the link if people want to join us. You can go refill your coffee. I will. I might play a video quickly here from Arbor Day. Arbor Day, by the way. So people, if you're on the Facebook, you know, Annabelle Lecter has left Without Your Head. She's left the production of Arbor Day. We wish her well. She's part of the show on and off for the last 12 years or so. She took a couple year break at one point. And so anyway, she's trying to move out of the country because of political reasons. So we wish her well. Of course, great memories, a lot of great experiences with Annabelle. But we were putting this movie together. So without Annabelle there, I'll be running the campaign. They'll be launching soon. And we need to recast the main villain of the movie, Lunadette. I have some people in mind to play Lunadette. Figure this out. But Arbor Day is still working together here. So Troy and I have taken over all the different art aspects. Troy was already making most of the props, but some of the other art stuff, Annabelle is no longer involved, so she will not be making that stuff. So I'm making some of it. Should be a good time. So let me play a video here for Arbor Day. The campaign will be launching. We're hoping to film this fall. AJ Cutler is going to be involved now. Michael Epstein, some new folks. Let's see here. Let me grab this. All right, here we go. Like this young lady.
Hello, everyone. This is Tara Hutchison from New Village Video and the Intimity Tapes. Just wanted to let you know my friends Neal, Troy, and Annabelle are making their first ever feature film together. It's the holiday horror film Arbor Day. I'm so excited to be a part of it as the character Ava Arborside. You're gonna learn more about it soon. But I would really appreciate it. We could get your help donating to it. It's gonna be a great film, great cast. I'm so excited to be a part of it, and I would love to share it with you. And I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
I'm Tim Dry, and I'm coming to you from London in the United Kingdom. Just a little bit about myself, just enough to whet your appetite. I played 2 character roles in Return of the Jedi. One was Jay Quill, a bad boy. One was a Mon Calamari officer. Anyway, I also played the title role in Extra. The point of this little video is to say that A, I have known Neal, Annabelle and Troy for many years now, but I am enormously excited to be a tiny part of their upcoming debut feature, Arbor Day. And I will be providing
the voice of the demon tree. Do you think you're ready to handle this?
Anyway, stay tuned for more info. It's gonna be monstrous.
Ciao for now.
Hello, I am international actor Gora, the man and the legend. I am excited to be playing an ancient warrior spirit summoned to help destroy the demon trees in the upcoming American movie Arbor Day. Ah, ah, ah.
Action. My name is Jim McDonough. I am a New England, more specifically Massachusetts, actually South Shore filmmaker, known in very small numbers for making short films like Tiny Clones, Manicorn, I Owe You One Banana, and Two Black Eyes, and working on my first feature film called Manicorn. I'm super excited to be part of Troy, Neal, and Annabelle's first feature film, Arbor Day. I will be playing Owen, more specifically Owen Wade Kenobi, Master Demon Hunter and mentor to Steve in Arbor Day. Coming in, I don't know what's coming, but I'm super excited to be part of the whole thing, and can't wait. Okay.
Boom! All right, we're back here. I see Dustin Nance in the chat. Hello, Dustin. It's good to see you here. I'm sure I do, Dustin. If not, email me at withoutyourhead@gmail.com. Let's see. Oh, Rob T. Hello. Is this Bobby in the chat?
Absolutely. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks. Good to see you. First time caller here. So
Yes,
I saw you said you worked with Michael and Sophia.
Yeah, so I was in a small pickup shot with Joe Castro, which is how I met Joe and Steven down in Los Angeles last year. I flew down there to be part of that shot, and I helped as part of the production for the movie, and it was just a really great experience. It was actually my first film experience, and everything just went absolutely brilliant. And I had such a great time, and ever since then I've been like trying to get more involved. I'm involved with the production of Our Man Funk and another film, Mimi and Friends. So yeah, no, it's really nice to talk to you guys, and I'm just trying to help as much as I can and be more involved.
Cool.
Awesome.
We appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, as you know, AJ's a part of the show now. I think he might be getting late from work, so he may not join us tonight. But if he does, he'll be here.
If he doesn't, we'll see him next week. No worries.
Yeah, next week it should be all of us. Me, Troy, and Tara should be here, and AJ. So that'll be a good time. So all right. So here's our first trailer. You can watch along with us if you like.
Right.
We've got a few lined up here. So this one is from Demeter Larat. Dreamland. Dreamland Awaits. I'm sorry, is the name. Dreamland Awaits. It's a no-budget art house horror film shot in English in the Hungarian countryside.
Ooh.
I'll just say it's got no budget, but maybe he lives in Hungary is what I'm thinking. Because you'd have to have a budget to get to Hungary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. With more heart than money, to be released worldwide in the fall. All right. Sounds good. Let's see here. Let's pull it up. Dreamland awaits. Here we go. I like the hand there.
Yeah, it was a cool hand.
I will call you every 8 hours with a new assignment. Starting tomorrow at 8 a.m. You will have 8 hours to complete it. If you fail, they are dead. If you talk to somebody, they are dead. If you leave the house during the day, they are dead. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
In a house so still, when the day is done.
I don't want to hurt you.
What's happening?
The lights are turned off. The windows shut one by one.
What do you have to do?
Blankets pulled up snugly to their chin. Dreamland awaits, where adventures begin.
Damn, for something that's supposedly no budget, I think that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I love the little jingle there.
Yeah, it started out as kind of like, oh, this is kind of a Saw, idea with the guy him talking to him on the phone, but it's much different. It's got some monsters, like almost like stop motion going on. Oh, yeah, I'm into it.
Check it out. Yeah.
I had a much different thought in my head when it mentioned no budget several times.
Hmm.
If it really
Well,
is no budget, they did quite a good job with not much money.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes people are just better at utilizing what they have, even if it's like very minimal. But that was impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Very cool. All right, next up, get this loaded, is from Robert Turman, and it is he says I'm an EP on this, and Elston Christopher's project looks really fun, but he did not include the name. It is Mimi and Friends. Mimi and Friends. All right.
Yeah, I submitted that.
Oh, you did. All right.
All right.
So Robbie submitted this. So hopefully we like it since he's here. All right, here we go.
I think it looks fun.
Oh, sweet. It's actually more
All right, I love that right away.
Yeah.
All right, your move. Don't forget Jeffrey. Butternuts. Wanna get high? Yeah. My child.
This is fucking bullshit.
Hell
I'm
yeah,
totally
that's
here for
sweet.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. And not just
You
because you're
had
here.
me
That
at
looks
glory
very fun.
hole, like come on.
Yeah, I talked to Christopher recently, and he said it's in the editing phase right now. So hopefully before too long.
All right, and let him know he's welcome on when when the movie's coming out, or if it's going to do festivals or whatever he wants to do. Yeah, he's welcome to come on the show.
Awesome.
Vomit Face
That
is a
is a
great
great
name.
name.
I agree. I was kind of into Gory Hole.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what that
I
says
was
about
hooked
either
on
of
that.
us.
Right.
Next up is Brute 1976, and this is sent in from upcoming returning guest Marcel Voss. This is coming out actually from Raven Banner. He's going to be coming back on the show soon to talk about this. He's got 2 movies coming out, this and Garden of Eden, written by Joe Netter, who's been on the show a bunch of times. All right, here we go. Krut 1976. And I will have it up here shortly here. All right, here we go. Oh, interesting. Vagina wrinkle. Music sounded very Skinny Puppy-ish, which I know that has her very excited.
You know where you are, right? This place's nickname is Death.
Let's begin. All aboard for your one-way trip to hell.
No one ever comes out this way anymore. 100 years ago, this was one of the most brutal places in America.
Did you hear that?
The worst of the worst showed up here. Murder. That was the way of life.
One of us is definitely getting murdered here.
Buddy down there?
Be quiet. They'll hear you.
Is that a chainsaw?
We need to get out of here. Why are you doing this?
Why does anyone do anything? What do you believe?
All right. Well, it was cool. Very
Three,
Rob
you know?
Zombie-ish.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
A lot of Texas Chainsaw vibes too.
Yep. Nasty Neal would have been 6 months old.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the year I was born. And last for this week is also from upcoming guest. I believe he'll be on next Wednesday. So we'll always be doing the live Thursday show. Looks like we'll be doing some live Saturday shows off and on. And every once in a while, if there's a lot of people, there'll be a Wednesday show. So next Wednesday, Isaac Esban will be here for Parvulis, Children of the Apocalypse. Now, I've actually seen this movie, and it's freaking amazing.
Is that?
In a dystopian future ravaged by a viral apocalypse, 3 young brothers find themselves isolated in a remote cabin deep. As they navigate this desolate world, they harbor a dark and disturbing secret in their basement, a presence they must feed to ensure their survival. So yeah, this is great. It played last year at a bunch of festivals. I saw it through Fantasia Film Festival.
Okay.
So I you know what though? Sometimes the festival versions are slightly different. So I don't know if the current one is different.
Había una vez 2 niños quienes vivían con su padre leñador y su madrastra cerca de un espeso bosque. Hasta acá llegó la pandemia.
Llegó a todo el mundo. Pero ese no fue el problema.
Estuvimos vagando mucho tiempo. Luego encontramos esta casa y todo cambió.
Si vienen las trompetas o algún otro infectado, corren.
¿Crees que el monstruo se comió a mis papás?
¡Ve por él! ¡Corre, corre, corre!
¡Contéstame! ¡Te mordieron!
Caminan por la tierra sonando su trompeta. Cuando el mundo acabe, estás con ellos. ¿O estás de sobra?
Great
looks amazing.
trailer and it's a really very dark movie if you've seen it or if you haven't seen it, but it's very dark, very bleak.
It reminds me of When Evil Lurks. I mean, just
Yeah. Well, I a lot of the recent Latino directed horror films are very dark and bleak. It seems.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into
A
that.
lot of cool stuff coming from that too.
Hell yeah.
Interesting. I knew Isaac from Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival over the years, and this was all his movies are cool, but this one's really picked up steam. Like this is like kind of his first kind of fairly big movies.
Nice.
He's a really talented guy, and it's good to see him doing well.
Thank you for introducing me to it.
I love the look of it. That one.
Yeah, it's really well shot. It's well made. So I saw this, Troy and Rob here, Bobby. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes: Organic Intelligence is going to come out this Halloween.
Tell me more.
It's a sequel to the original movie.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a crazy cast. John Astin's in it.
No, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, not Sean Astin, but John Astin.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
that's crazy. I did not realize he was still alive.
No,
Yeah,
he's got to be 90 years old. Yeah. That's crazy.
Daniel Roebuck is always fun and everything. Even though I can't say I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie's Monsters, he is very good in the movie. He really nails the character. And he was fun in Halloween 3 as the Santa Claus. And Eric Roberts.
Always a good time.
Yeah. This is how they describe it. Jurassic Park meets Dr. Strangelove.
Okay, I'm down. You have me.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
So I'm down.
I don't even need a trailer. I just need that.
No, I don't. Yeah, there's no trailers, not even any poster or anything.
Oh.
So maybe they just made it up. I don't know. But
it's all a big lie.
Hi, AJ is here. What's up?
Dude, what's up? How you guys doing?
Good. Yeah,
all is well.
We had a
What's
new
up,
segment
Robert?
on the show. People send in their trailers and we play them, and we give our honest opinion, and they actually were all very good.
Hell yeah. Let me in. Let's see what's up.
All right. Well, I'd have to replay them because we actually just finished them. But
oh no, that's okay.
We might play some. It's going to be an ongoing thing. So in the future, everybody send them in either on Facebook or email me withoutyourhead@gmail.com. And I even mentioned, I said we're all pretty nice guys, but if AJ's here and he doesn't like it, he'll let you know that it's a bad.
He's our brutally honest man.
Yeah.
I'm not brutally honest. I'm the bad taste guy. That's
okay.
That's
well, bad taste. What do you think about this? I just mentioned there's an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes sequel coming out.
Oh, I'm into that actually. Come on. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
John Astin's in it. That seems insane. Not Sean Astin, John Astin, his dad from
Gomez Adams.
I'm back.
The original Gomez Adams, exactly. Simon Hall, hi from Birmingham, England. Well, hello, Simon. He's watching on the Facebooks. Wherever you're watching, we appreciate it. Now, Bobby, since you know Michael and Sophia, do you know AJ at all?
I only know AJ through, obviously from the One Second Smash and from Funk.
But you've never met in person?
No,
like two ships in the night, where one day we're gonna crash into each other.
That would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, it'll happen soon. It's like Carmen San Diego. You know, I see all the places that you go, and I'm like, motherfucker, I swear I was just right
just there.
there. Like,
Yeah.
we're just chasing each other.
Where in the
You've
world is
probably
Robbie
seen that,
Sandy?
I told these guys that Joe Castro, Steven Escobar, and Brink Stevens are coming up here tomorrow, and we're gonna do a double feature of Terror Tunes and Personal Demons at one of our historical theaters here.
Oh, sweet.
Terror Tunes 4?
No, the first one, which is apparently
The
never
first
had a
one.
theatrical release.
Dude, that is so cool. And you're doing that with Joe Castro.
Yeah, no, like I
Yeah.
said, they're
It's gonna
flying
be badass.
they're doing a meet and greet at a video store here, which is like one of the best video stores in the country. And then we're gonna go over to, like I said, one of the historical theaters here, and they're gonna play their 2 films, and we'll do a meet and greet afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Where's that at?
The Hollywood Theater, Portland, Oregon.
Oh, dude. Wait. When is that happening?
Saturday.
Like I just left Oregon yesterday.
Are you
son of a bitch? I swear to you, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be landing in Portland, Oregon on the 18th.
Wow.
See what I mean? It's like a red string theory. Like, dude, we're we're gonna crash. Dude, that is awesome. I wish I could make that. That was so close too. That would have been so cool.
That would have been really cool.
Shout out to Joe Castro. We're all friends of Joe here. Good dude. Makes a lot of
He
funny,
was so
crazy
great.
stuff.
He was the first person I worked with. I became a producer on Infernal, and the director invited me to go down and work with Joe. So I went down there for the day. First time I've ever been involved in a film project like this, and he was just the nicest person to work with. He was so, like, the effects he put on us were so great, and he did it so fast.
That's
and
awesome.
we spent the day together, and we all went out for dinner after that, and it was just a super nice experience, and we've been friends since. And I have a friend who hosts a horror segment at the Hollywood Theater up here, and he's a big fan of Joe Castro. He found out that I knew Joe. We kind of all got talking, and now this whole double feature screening is happening with Brink Stevens Saturday.
Oh, that's great.
I saw Infernal's playing, I think today actually. They're doing a double feature with it and the Greasy Strangler. Which I was like,
No way.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, Sky Elobar is going to be there, who's in both. And Gil Gex, I think, is there. I'm not sure if Gil Gex is in Inferno too. Maybe he's in Inferno as well.
I don't remember, honestly.
I've not seen Infernal yet.
I saw it premiered on the 19th of April down in Las Vegas, and I saw it down there. I think it's only played. It played in Texas the other day, and it's going to play in Minneapolis, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Indianapolis, maybe.
Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's, to my knowledge, the only 3 times it's been played.
That was another one that Vegas screening, because we were on set for Funk, and then the Infernal screening happened while we were on set.
Oh, it's right, because Cass had to leave and go.
Because then Cass left, and then she posts a picture with you, and then comes right back, and I'm like, son of a bitch, here we go again. So it's just like, I mean, so many. That's why I remember that April screening very, very well.
Yeah, it was an amazing night. It was such a blast. I was super happy to be a part of it, and obviously even happier to be able to make it down there for the premiere.
Yeah, in Vegas too. That's like a sick place to screen.
That's gotta be wild.
One of the nerdiest fun things about it was, like, I told my mom that I was going down, and my mom, like, pretty much lives by herself, and she's got a boyfriend who's been out of town on work for a long time, and she's like, you know what, I'm really bored, so I'm just gonna drive into Vegas and meet you.
Awesome.
So she spent the weekend with me, and pretty much paid for everything, so I can't be mad about that.
That's sick. It's the best time to come in and mom.
Troy, have you ever read, because I know I like Joe Hill stories too, but I've never read this as a short story, Abraham's Boys?
It's great. It's Van Helsing and his 2 sons. Really, really cool story. It's real short, though. I think it's only maybe 20 pages or so.
Oh, because the movie version is coming on Shudder soon in July.
Wow. They're probably going to have to add some to it. I mean, I can't imagine it's only going to be like your 30-minute
movie. So many movies off his short films.
Yeah. But if they do it well, it should be
Backbone
really
gets away.
good, because it's a cool story.
But I wonder
He's
why
kind
they.
of a prick.
It's not like they'd run out of stuff because they haven't made some of his big novels into movies. It's weird that they're
That's
just
true.
going
The
right to a
Fireman,
short
I
film.
think, would be the best. I think that
What
would
would
be.
you
Yeah,
say
that
was
one.
great
I think you'd have to have a really big budget to do the fire effects. But I think
Would
you
you
could do a heart-shaped box, without
Oh, that
like
would be
going
so
with
good.
yeah.
favorite King adaptation?
Not to say I'm not really a big fan of this series, but there's a new I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's coming out in July. So what? It's always weird that like all these new it's like the new sequels. They're just called the movie. It's not like I Know What You Did Last Summer Part 9, or I Still Know What You Did 20 summers ago. It's if you
I
didn't know
don't
the other movie, would
remember
they even
what
still
you
make
did
sense?
30 summers ago.
How does that even make sense anymore? The title.
Wait, but isn't
'Cause it
that
wouldn't
like
even make.
a isn't that like a isn't that like a reboot?
Maybe
Or
is it just a
like when
complete
they
remake?
yeah,
It
like they
seems like it's
or
all
yeah,
appropriate.
yeah, it might be like a complete because it's like sequels and then they'll start over, or then sometimes it's like a different. I don't know, man. I'm giving them an out.
I think they should do a prequel, and it's I Know What You're Gonna Do next summer.
Okay, I like that.
That's what I would do with the series.
Absurd.
I have to be. I know some people like love. I really didn't know anyone was like in love with that series until I was like online, like the last on social media, and I was like, man, people like really love I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. But, yeah.
Must be a generational thing. Like, if you were, that was the first like experience with any kind of horror type thing when you were 12.
Yeah, I was probably older when it came out, and I'm like, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that really like Final Destination.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually, now you say it, honestly, I think most of those franchises from that era weren't really my deal. I did really like the new one though. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, that's
It
what
was
you said.
fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I never really got the fascination with Scream either. Like, I guess it was okay.
Uh-oh, AJ, you're muted.
Oh.
Back?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like a kid when these movies came out,
Right.
and so I didn't have a good film sense at all. Like if there was like boobs and a cool soundtrack, I was fucking sold, and I'd like tell all my friends about it. I'm like, dude, if you fucking yeah, right. I'm like that made it. I'm like the movie is good. You couldn't tell me it wasn't. But then when I started working in film, and then I was bringing all my bad opinions, like Triple X is a good action film and stuff. It was kind of turning people off. But I'm like, dude, I liked these before I knew what a good movie was, and so
I mean, honestly, it is. I grew up watching Friday the 13th movies. Are they really good? Probably. So it's kind of the same idea. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy them. Are they actually like good movies? I don't know, but
Oh, now if Neal comes up missing,
I mean, I'm wearing Friday the 13th. I'm wearing a shirt that I designed. We got the Manhattan Knockout, and so tonight but I mentioned this one more time here. So now that people like compete who the best chatters are, it keeps track of the top 10 or whatever. We're gonna start giving away prizes. I don't know if we're just gonna give to the number one chatter, or maybe we'll randomly pick out of the top 5 or something. But anyway, tonight, since tomorrow's Friday the 13th, you're gonna get an Arbor Day flyer that will be signed by me and Troy, and a collection of Friday the 13th stickers.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's
Yeah.
a cool prize package.
Bunch of Jason stickers here, so that'll be fun.
and you get to eat one of the losers.
Your choice.
Yeah, so get to competing. Don't want to lose.
Oh, someone else's. Oh no, I think it looked like someone else is joining, but it's iPod. Oh, okay. This is what it's. Forget what I just said. I wanted to show you guys this because this is my kind of graphics. This is the new game coming out, and it is Terrifier, the arcade game.
Nice.
I have the demo.
Dude, sick.
So this is a real thing.
Yep, it absolutely is.
And the graphics are amazing. They're like, I like the more cartoony graphics. These are right up my alley.
Huh. All right, I'm kind of in love here. Wow. I think I need this in my future.
That looks pretty sweet.
Yep. My life will not be complete without that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the graphics are definitely my deal. So.
Who made
Got
that?
the
Did
pale
they
little
make
girl
that?
in there.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure, dude. I think it's made by an actual company.
Major studio.
You're a little low,
guys-
Robbie.
Hmm.
Let me check here. I'm just gonna pull.
Turn him up.
Beautiful human beings made that
How about now?
game.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's gonna be on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox. So you said you actually have the demo, Robbie?
Yeah, the demo's available on Steam right now. I think it's just the first stage, but it's fun.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I have Steam on my. Now I haven't played an actual video game since like Cubert. No, but I did stop buying consoles at N64, so I'm really out of the loop.
Yeah, they've changed a little bit.
They're not. So this isn't like Dig Dug.
No, but
it'd be more like an old like Final Fight game. That kind of like.
Okay, it really looks like almost like Double Dragon to me.
Double Dragon is exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of making some sprites that are kind of Double Dragon. But yeah.
You'd be surprised though. Some of these old school looking games do the best. Like Among Us was almost that animation style, and fuck, man, that was like people played that to death. I did. I was obsessed with that game.
It probably appeals to a broad audience because it people my age it's like, oh wow, this looks like a game I played, and then like younger people like, oh, this looks cool or looks fun or whatever. So I could see it appealing to a lot of different people.
You got to get past Missile Command, Nasty Neal.
The gamer crowd, the horror crowd, all the above.
I was on Dabbleverse. People know Mr. Kill Everything, and he's playing these horror games, and I'm just like, is it like Castlevania? Or like Ghouls and Goblins or something? I need to show this because this is a friend of mine, John Devlin. This is his new movie coming out. I was like, dude, what is this? Analologies. It's an ass-forward horror anthology that probes the dark, the depraved, and the downright obscene.
Wow.
Transgressive, vicious, unholy, because not every story comes out clean. It's like, dude, what is going on here? But
we get a double feature with that one and Dick Toes. I'm there.
Exactly.
Totally there.
So
that was gross.
Yeah.
That'll be hard to forget.
Yeah, it's scary. I was just scrolling Facebook and I saw it. And I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then I read the description. I'm like, I don't know if I
get a big platter of calamari, and we're there for that.
I sometimes like to ask, maybe I should be in this movie, but I don't know if I should be in that one.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't know if we should even watch it, but good for him. Good for him.
Oh yeah.
Gotta support your friends.
Exactly.
They're like, dude, you're perfect for the guy that goes ass to mouth with the. And you're like, oh, I am.
Well, I don't know if you know this, AJ. He's talked about this a lot. I was gonna be in Human Centipede 3.
Oh,
Were you really?
Yeah, and what happened was when I was like signing the thing, it asked if I lived in LA, and I was like, no. So then it didn't happen. But and afterwards, everyone told me you should have just lied and said, yeah, you live in LA. That's what Trista told me too. She's like, years later, she said, yeah, you always just lie. You say yes to everything.
If you had known then what you know now.
Yeah, I didn't know. I could have been in Human Centipede 3.
It's
It would
weird.
have been like I would have just been one of the people.
Tiny Lister's ass could have been right there for you.
Yeah, I would have been one of the
I feel like we were taught to be honest, and the more time goes on, I feel like you should not. Like it's a test. Actually, it's like, hey, oh, you told the truth. All right, you got to go to jail. You got to go to jail, dude. You shouldn't have told the truth. I'm like, what the fuck?
What have we learned tonight? Well,
don't be a bootlicker.
I saw the what is it called? The full sequence. There's a new cut of all three of the Human Centipede 3. They're all they've been re-edited to be.
I think it's a full sequence.
Yeah, which I don't really get because the
I never
third
saw any
one, they're like completely. It's the same actors, but they're playing like different characters. I don't really.
That's got to be
see how they could be connected.
I never made it through the third one. That one's just tough for me.
I think it's almost an unwatchable movie. And I say this as a big fan of Human Centipede, like 1 and 2. I think they're like genuinely good movies. The first movie is like it's really like an old school mad scientist movie.
Oh yeah.
It's really not even graphic.
And Dieter's so good in it.
Yeah,
He's
Dieter's
just
awesome. It's even set up like an old school mad scientist movie where it's like these two girls lost in like it's raining and they come upon a house and then it's a scientist guy. And then the second one is like the opposite of everything about the first one.
It's just batshit crazy. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
The second one turns my stomach. I'm like, I cannot watch this. So I thought that one was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. And both of them are very cinematic. Like they're shot well. They look great, I think. Second one especially. And then the third one I think is a terrible. It's just like and it's not even because it's graphic. I just think it's a terrible, terrible movie. And my theory was it was made bad on purpose. That the whole point of it is it was Tom Six is saying this is what an American remake of like a foreign movie is. It's like it's not cinematic at all. Everything's shot really lame. It's just like you're just there, like and instead of like big explosions, everyone's just yelling. I'm like,
There's
maybe
a lot of yelling in that movie.
Yeah, everyone's just yelling their lines. And then I told this theory to Lawrence Harvey of Human Centipede 2 and 3, and he just like, well, you might be just giving Tom Six too much credit.
Might just suck. Might just be that.
I don't know. That's what I'm standing by. It's like, how could the same guy made like these other movies I think are actually good movies, and then he made this third one? It's like, oh my god. I don't know. That's my theory.
That was like his who's the guy that wrestled Jerry Lawler? The guy from Taxi.
Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, that's his Andy Kaufman moment. He's
yeah.
Like, this is so deep that no one's gonna get it.
Did you ever see the third one, AJ? Oh, AJ, yeah. AJ just froze when we mentioned it. I think there's a bad, at least he did my, there he is.
No, I never saw the third one, but I liked the first two.
I do too. So yeah, I went to the premiere of the third one in LA, and Yoshi Hiro Kitamura, the Asian guy in those movies, really cool guy. And after we saw the third one, I was like, "What did you think of that movie?" And he's like, "Crazy movie, man. Crazy movie, man." It's like shell shock.
He wasn't lying.
Yeah.
I think one of the most enjoyable moments, like, was when we were at the convention and they were playing the second one, and Lawrence Harvey was there, and he just like he sat in the front row and he just kind of watched the crowd as we watched it, and like just some of the sound effects are so gruesome in that everybody's all like squirming. It's so great. And he's
Yeah, he
just
was even
cracking up.
yelling
He thought that was
squish
great.
and
Yep.
different. Yeah. So also, the original Roger Ebert review of part 2, he gives it. He's like, this exists in a world of no stars. It's this really weird review, and he says that Tom Six just found like a mentally handicapped guy on the streets and put him in the movie. And I was like, holy. And then so we go to this convention, and Lawrence Harvey's there, and I'm like, well, what the hell kind of guy is this guy gonna be? Is he like just some insane dude or something? And so we meet him, and he's like this really, well-educated
Oh, he's
English
a
guy.
dapper little guy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
And
and I
I
was like,
expected like a crazy Peter Lorre or something. Like, he'd be eating like roaches off the ground or something.
What was that about?
because then I'm like, Roger Ebert's like one of the most like trusted.
Yeah. He just made up all this bullshit. Like, okay,
Then I'm like,
cool,
what
thanks.
else has he said in other reviews that it's just like, just total bullshit? I don't know.
Well, wait, this was what year was this? Was he alive still?
He was alive, but he was no longer verbal. So
yeah, because he has because like Roger Ebert still does reviews.
Yeah. No, he was actually. It was one that he wrote. It wasn't just off his.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, it's probably his fucking team.
Yeah, maybe he was just filled with hatred at that time. He's like, I'm just gonna start ruining careers. Like, I got a fake mandible. I got nothing to lose. Fuck all y'all.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. So Lawrence will be coming back on the show in next month in July. Lawrence Harvey. I'm very excited about that. He's been doing all kinds of stuff. So.
Just
I haven't
a cool
seen him in
guy. I
years.
love Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah, Lawrence is awesome. Need a Human Centipede 4. Do like a Hands Across America kind of thing, coast to coast. I'm down. I was trying to find. I can't find the sticker here. The human Family Pete sticker. I don't know where it is. I thought I had one down here, but oh well. But yeah, I like Human Centipede movies. I remember when it first was being talked about, we talked about on the show, and Troy and I were like, this sounds like the dumbest thing ever. Like,
I was dragging my feet for years. Like, Neal kept asking me, oh, you got to see this movie. I'm like, fuck no, that just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, what happened was it was the first time I interviewed Bill Moseley, and he was like, as an actor, I don't always like tell people they really have to see a performance of somebody else. And he just gave this big glowing thing, and he's like, he had no connection to the movie. He's just like, Dieter Laser is just amazing. And I was like, well, I guess I have to see this movie. And so then I watched it, and I was like, oh shit, it is really good. And then I kept telling Troy, like, you got to see Human Centipede.
I gave him the yeah. Then, of course, I watched it, and then I've been asking Neal for 15 years, like, hey, did you ever watch The Seven Samurai? And he's like, I'm getting around to it. Don't rush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Some stranger he'll meet at Walmart will be like, hey, you should watch The Seven Samurai. Then a week later, he'll be like, you got to watch this movie, Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Yeah, okay.
It is good. You should watch it.
All right.
It's a curse to being the older brother, I think,
It's actually good. As a guy that really shits on a lot of older movies because I require a lot of bells and whistles to be entertained. I need a lot of plastic keys jingling in my face. And so it's got to be a pretty entertaining movie. And Seven Samurai, it's crazy. It's like it's kind of unbelievable how good of a movie they could make that long ago.
And Mifune is so good in it. He's just awesome.
Yeah, and even the next movie he makes, the same guy is in it, and it's like just as good. It's not as talked about, but it's just as good.
Samurai. What was the other one? I'm not sure.
I need to actually look at what was it. Do you remember that?
There's what's the one with the throne? That one's really good. But all those Mifune Kurosawa movies are so good. Like the one where he's the samurai with no name, and then later on Eastwood was the man with no name.
Yeah, because a lot of those westerns were inspired by or and based on a lot of the Asian movies.
Yep.
So there's like some streaming platform that has all of them,
oh, really?
Like in order by date, and so I was like watching them from oldest to new, till like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm psycho.
I don't know if one of them's like Throne of Blood or something. It's something about a throne, and it's basically Macbeth that Kurosawa did with Mifune. It's tremendous too. And then Ron's so good, but it's later.
I will get around to it one of these days.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I did on our website, Aaron Baracus, who edited the Once and Future Smash, he just reviewed Best Wishes to All, which is a new movie by Grudge director Takashi Shimizu. I saw
Aaron Baracus did.
Yeah. Aaron's doing reviews for us on the website, written reviews. So Aaron's a good dude, really well written too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
makes some really funny shit.
Happy to have him on board on the website.
I was on one of Aaron's sets because he's a director also. I was on one of his sets years ago, and they had some of the funniest, goriest effects that I've ever seen. I like just crying, laughing, shooting these things. It was for Half Cocked, the movie. Oh man, it was insane. And I actually think Joe Castro was on that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
he was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was, I mean, nuts. The effects they did on that, I was just like, it'd be like cut. I'm like, that was one of the movies where I was like, is this my life? Is this real? This was wild. You know, where he I don't want watch the movie, but he shoots himself, and it doesn't kill him, and it was one of the funniest things in the world to me to watch Rudy blow his brains out against the wall and go, nothing. And I'm like, dude, god damn it. This is Aaron made like a really funny movie. So it was we hopefully we get close to those effects with funk, but man, they did some wild shit in that movie. That was a fun one.
I think it's on I think it just got picked up on some kind of anthology, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, Mother Goose's Scary Tales.
Awesome.
Dude, how do you feel about the anthologies? There's like an explosion of them.
Yeah. So, Creep Show is one of my favorite movies. Because I loved it as a kid. I think it's got like everything I like. It's funny. I think it's also scary. The monsters are cool. It also holds a personal connection to me. It's the first, I have it up here, the clamshell. It's the first VHS tape that my mom bought me, which wouldn't, and at the time they were really expensive, like $90 or something. But that movie, like anthologies I grew up with, were made specifically for that anthology.
Right.
It's
like Tales from the Crypt and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, which I that's another, and Vault of was it Vault of Terror?
Yep.
And today it's a little different because a lot of them, it's like a collection of cool shorts that are put together, and they're all usually made by different people, and a lot of times not even with like the forethought, like, oh, this is going to be connected to these other movies or anything like that. And sometimes they still work, I think. So sometimes I still really like them, and I think it's cool that it gives a platform to some cool shorts that may have just get kind of lost without like that anthology thing. But then sometimes I see them and they don't work. Where it kind of, but so I think you have to have like some type of like the wraparound kind of deal. So it kind of makes sense that they're connected. You know what I mean? And also you can't just throw anything together.
I do like the ones that are connected. But I also think that like even a random one works in its own right. And it's interesting because I don't know. Even when they're connected, I still look at the stories pretty like individually. Like have you ever seen Holidays? I think it's called.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's like very connected, because it's just they each get a holiday. But I don't even really remember it like that. Like I remember each of the shorts individually.
Oh,
and
yep.
I think it's cool because it's like shorts had no culture outside of filmmakers before anthologies. I want there to be more anthologies for other genres. Like I think there should be like crime drama anthologies and comedy anthologies. And
I'm down.
I mean, think about the vaults, like all the shorts that are just out there in the world that have nowhere to go, that you could probably curate and stitch together 90 minutes of fucking something
but you
pretty
can
good.
say that about a lot of like the comedy ones, like that are more like sketch comedy things, kind of like Monty Python's Meaning of Life, like where it's a bunch of like
That's
short
true.
skits,
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like I think that works. I think comedy definitely works like that.
Yeah, it's like a sketch comedy movie instead of a Saturday Night Live kind of idea, but like as a movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And funny. Yeah.
And I mean that's just like so easy. Just
yeah.
repurpose all of these shorts out in the ether as features. And I don't know. It's like so much out there.
So I don't want to dox Vagina Wrinkle here, but I know outside of being a Vagina Wrinkle, she does, effects in independent horror movies. Our movie distributor friend said no anthologies. I love them and don't get the hate. Yeah, I didn't realize
love
there was
her
a
as it is, like now we love her even more.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm kind of where I'm going more like as the days go by is if somebody tells me that there's like a general rule for something, then I'm like, oh, we should not do that.
I like that. That's a great attitude.
You know what I mean? And it's just like you're gonna probably get farther. Like a lot of people, I get into it with a lot of people about narration, and it's usually whenever we're making films. Oh yeah, Vagina Wrinkle. That's such a. How'd you get that name? There must be people lined up for that. But yeah, it's usually like on the filmmaking side, not in like watching movies. Sorry, that threw me off. I got really high.
You got really high, and then you saw the name Vagina Wrinkle. Like,
I was like,
and the mind started to go. Yep.
Imagery.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned not to always bring back to Arbor Day, but I actually had the idea for a narrator in Arbor Day, and I presented it to somebody because it would have to be someone that it would work with. And I'll tell you off air. I don't want to say it on air because it doesn't work out, but she's very interested in doing it. So.
Oh, and it's mind blowing.
Yeah. I'm very into the idea. It has to be someone's. You couldn't just be anybody. It has to. For me, it would make sense in the storyline. So.
I think all great creators like never listen to people going, "Hey, you can't do that. That never works." It's like that's what people used to tell like Robert Crumb, like you can't make an X-rated comic book because nobody's gonna read this shit. And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And,
yeah,
maybe
I'm gonna do it forever.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, die. He's like, I think I'm gonna keep doing this longer and longer. I love that guy.
Like, no, stick with your he was working for who was the greeting card company? Hallmark. Like writing and like illustrating greeting cards, and he's like, "No, I'm good, thanks."
It's not a great fit, I don't think.
It also reminds me like Quentin Tarantino when he was on Bill Maher's show a year or two ago, and Bill Maher just kept saying like, oh, they wouldn't let you make this today or whatever, and he just was like, well, who wouldn't let me make it? Like, who can stop me? Like if I want to make
The movie
they could,
mafia
yeah,
would stop you.
they could tell me not to, but I mean they can't just stop me. Like
they told him not to. Every media outlet told him not to make Django. After it came out, they told him that he wasn't allowed to like it. I mean, it was, and he was like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." I mean, he just stuck to it.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said like every movie he ever made, people told him not to make, and he made it. So yeah.
Well, it's almost like people. I don't know. It's like all these constraints to like make films with your hands tied behind your back, and then you go watch like a $400 million 4-hour movie, and they do all of the things that everybody's telling you that you're not allowed to do. Oh, you're not allowed to do flashbacks. You're not allowed to do narrator. You're not allowed all these things. Why? Because it's hacky, or it's this, or it's a cheap trick. And I'm like, these are tools. These are literally fucking tools. And so it like, I argue with people about narration all the time. Like we'll put their film together, and then we get to the end, and then I know what's in the script. It's like I've read the script. It's very detailed, and then the film is what you got. Like that's what you ended up with your budget. And so some of this stuff doesn't always translate. And I'm like, this shot is really boring, but if there was narration over this, we could run this shot for like 2.5 fucking minutes and it would be like award winning. Like it's like, it just changes things. And a lot of it works for people too, because we think like we have narration going on in our head all the fucking time. And so I mean, I like it in movies. I don't think every single movie needs it, but I do think a lot of things could use more of the tools.
I think the cut of Blade Runner with narration is better.
Yep.
Ooh. I
hope
haven't seen
that The Long Walk's got to have narration, or it'd be almost impossible to follow the story. Because like when King did the story, like it's almost all like the kids thinking things. Like if you don't have any narration, it's gonna be
that's a
dull,
really good movie to film. I think. Just like anything can be filmed. But yeah, it's a true. That actually made me think of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Like,
oh yeah,
that probably wouldn't work without narration either.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be like a gobbledygook. You'd be like, "What the fuck am I watching right now?"
Exactly.
And then, but the people that had the script, they'd be like, "No, it's like And I mean, it just doesn't always translate. 90 minutes, you got to understand, dude. Fucking 90 minutes. That is a really short amount of time to like introduce an entire world of new characters, develop them, make you give a fuck about them, and then like make something cool happen. And so it's just like use everything. Just be resourceful. We've got billions of short films out there, and people don't even really know about them. But now they kind of do. Now I run into more and more people that are like, "Yo, I was watching short films on YouTube or on Alter." And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is kind of a little bit more mainstream now, which I think is awesome.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Something I've been wanting to do on. Yeah, something I wanted to do on Without Your Head for a while, and I had people interested. So I'll have to. I need someone to keep me in line. Say this is a good idea. Do it.
To do what?
To have actually short films on Without Your Head. Where I'd kind of host them, kind of like the Joe Bob kind of deal.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I've had I have people who are interested in giving me their short films to do that with, so we'll see.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Final thing about narration, could you imagine like the Shawshank Redemption without narration? It'd be terrible, it's like it adds so much to that movie,
It's You gotta decide. It's like, did they use? There's no narration on "There Will Be Blood," right?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
there is. No.
It's like a very quiet movie most of the time until he starts screaming. But I think it works really well for that because it's so well paced. But again, it's like $200 million fucking movie. They've got the time and the money to do, but it's it's just weird. It's like I could see it going either way. I could see that movie having narration and being way better or just as good.
Yep.
I'm into it. Bad take guy here.
We'll mention
Not on
Bill
that
Wheaton
one.
here. Nursing Home Dracula, the comic book, is coming out.
Yahoo!
The comic book.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
Mark Torgel.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely down.
the illustration's great.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I love it.
Although I have a question. I don't think that woman looks like she would be in a nursing home.
She's a well-preserved grandma.
Maybe she was one of the nurses.
She's an orderly, yeah.
Yeah, I was in a nursing. I know I told a story.
Like that?
No. So when I was in physical rehab after I had surgery, so they sent me to a nursing home, which was also physical rehab, and so everyone else there was there for the nursing home. So I was 40 at the time, and everyone else was in their 90s. And I remember doing the physical rehab, and the guy was like, "Oh, you hold the record here for like everything, like standing on one leg, the long." And at first, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Then I'm thinking, "Wait a minute, well, it's like 96. I don't know if this is really something to brag about." Like,
You're better than the old lady with osteoporosis, man. You're doing great.
So I was like, I bet you were smoking that. Like, lift this. I can throw this.
You beat the record.
So when I did rehab, physical therapy, I was with a bunch of people that had crazy leg things, but they still had their legs. And then I'd be like running on the treadmill with a prosthetic. And then I remember one guy had like his pinky toe was smashed and it was gone. And it was like impossible for him to walk. Like it would just like roll over. And I was like, dude, you should just cut that thing off at the shin, because then you could be over here running on this thing. So it was like opposite. It was weird to be in a room full of people with two legs and be like outrunning them. I was really young though.
You're like Steve Austin at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people don't even realize about you now. You get along really, you get around really well.
Yeah, I know. I gotta like take it off and fill it with beer and chug it for anybody to notice. I'm like, look at me! Look at me!
That's even better than drinking like the champagne out of a lady's slipper, though. I kind of dig that.
It's way better.
One day we're gonna drink out of AJ's prosthetic.
Oh yeah, and it's like
that'll be the Arbor Day rap party.
Yeah, exactly. Like fucking hey, pass it around, man.
You just fill it with Gatorade and pour it over everybody. This idea.
Oh my god. Gotta be good for something.
Let's see here. So hit the like button. Subscribe. If you want to help support the channel, become a member. It starts only $3 a month. And I just added a new level. For only $10 a month, you can get IMDb credit as a producer of Without Your Head podcast. I think that's a pretty cool perk.
That is pretty awesome.
So how that works is you'll get credit for that whole month of show, at least 4 shows. So there'll probably be more than that, but in case it's a month that we don't do 4 shows for a reason, I'll add it to the next month. All right, let's see here. Mr. Luddite.
Hey!
What's going on, Johnny Cakes?
Not much. What about you?
doing
All
the
is
show
well.
without your head. You might have heard of it. It's on your mind. This is my symbol for what's on your mind.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, I had like 2 different Neals coming at me. And
Hey, that sounds like a
that's a
win-win
lot
to
of
me.
Neal. That's
A lot of people out there that would pay good money to have 2 Neals coming at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Random, I don't know.
That's all I did before, so nobody take it. That's
All right. No one's listening, so it doesn't matter. No one's
Sure they
listening.
are. Everybody loves the great Neal Jones.
Well, thank you. Very wise man, Ludite. Very wise man.
On Audible, there's a bunch of horror movie making books right now. There's Never Sleep Again. It's on there.
Like for free or
Never
like
sleep again.
Well, you gotta buy it, but you
buy it. Okay, I'm an Audible man, so let me pull this up.
And there's something about all the horror of the 2000s, like the Saw era and the torture porn era.
So these are books about like horror movies, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they're making a.
Oh, how to make a horror movie.
Yeah, the history of making, like how shit got done.
All right.
How the sausage was made, so to speak. In the case of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, literally sausage.
Right.
What's made?
I actually have Blade Runner. Well, not Blade Runner, but the book on my library here. I've tried to listen to this several times. I can't get into it.
Which
one's that? It's different than the movie.
Electric Sheep or whatever it's called.
Oh.
It's listed as Blade Runner here, but it's not called
Android Stream of Electric
Yeah,
Sheep.
yeah. I can't get into it, but I did love The Island of Dr. Moreau. This little known book. You give it a shout out.
Yeah, by the
Herbert George Wells. He's
Wells.
on his way. He's an up and comer.
Yeah.
I was just looking at my library.
No,
here.
he'll never go anywhere.
Mhm.
Never hear from him again.
The Institute. That's a really underrated Stephen King book. Came out a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
And,
that
they're
one's
making
really
the movie actually, but I think it's
Oh, no
really
kidding.
good. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't.
I never
anything
hear
about
anyone
that.
talk about it, but I think it's really good.
I like it a lot.
Confessions of a Puppet Master by Charles Band. That's a fun read.
Ooh.
Ouch.
It's a fun
Love
book.
Charles Band.
Uh-oh, we got Chobo here. What's up, Chobo?
Well, my new
Anthony,
movie
what?
but I had no Dennis. I don't.
I'm good. I'm good.
You know about my book.
Ooh, what a day.
Oh,
What's
what's
up?
you up to today?
I'm up to 2013 in my memoirs.
Oh wow, sweet.
Didn't have time to include you guys, but hey, next week is another week, you know.
There's always in time to include us.
I will. So how you doing?
All is
Hey,
well.
cousin AJ, Troy, Ludi.
What's up, brother?
Anthony,
I'm good.
Mm.
I'm good. Just sad that we lost. Don't see Neal in a baseball cap too often. Sneezy hat.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm usually have something.
Usually I wear my bald head and everything. So Tuesday I'm going to go see How to
You don't
Train
want
Your
to take the
Dragon.
bald head off. I don't want
Nice.
to. I don't want you to call in. You just get like a bleeding skull.
Yeah.
Here.
I have pictures of me with my hair, you know. When I used to have like a peach fuzz hair.
I'm gonna let him borrow my hair one of these days.
So I'm good as bald. So anyways, I'm doing good and everything. I watched. It's sad that we lost Ananda Lewis yesterday. R.I.P. to her. She was a beautiful woman. She was a beautiful woman.
We lost the Beach Boy diamond.
Brian Wilson. Yeah, we lost him, and we lost the guy, the judge from Ghostbusters 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's hot in New York. Oh, the mask, the lucha mask.
Nice.
I've been watching Worlds Collide, you know.
Oh yeah. I hear a
Good
lot
show.
of
Good show so far. I haven't finished watching it yet. You know.
I'm missing the ropes for the they're supposed to should tie here. But
Oh yeah.
But
Someone's gonna.
We
steal
don't
your
want you
mask.
to hurt yourself.
That's true. They took them away.
Yeah, it's like when they put you
Yeah.
in prison, take away your shoelaces to go hang
Exactly.
yourself or something.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
So I'm excited for Superman. I'm getting tickets next week.
Nice.
I am too. It's probably the first time I've actually wanted to see a Superman movie since Superman 2 in like 1980.
And don't forget about Fantastic Four next.
Troy's a big Fantastic Four guy.
I can't wait. The trailers made me astonished, But I heard rumors today that we're getting Wonder Woman in the DCU. I was watching John. We're getting John Campia was talking about that today. I had Wendy's for dinner.
Of course you did. It's Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
Do the Baconator?
Thursday.
Aren't you on the Wendy's diet?
Yes, I am.
Does Wendy's boyfriend get upset? That's what I'm
just got my mom chili today, and then we walked through Glendale, and I saw the rad DVD of National Lampoon's Vacation today.
Oh,
hell yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna plan on getting it soon. I've been planning on getting it soon because I have an appointment Monday. Tuesday, I'm gonna go see Same Superman looks dope. Yeah, damn right. I'm looking forward to How to Train Your Dragon and Megan 2. Then
Megan 2 looks good. I like that they're having fun with the idea that you would recreate
Jurassic World,
this,
and I'm looking forward to Superman, and then I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm a big fan of Jennifer Love Hewitt, and then Fantastic Four.
All right, sounds good, Anthony. We'll talk to you soon, my buddy,
All
my
right,
pal,
thanks.
my
Bye.
amigo, my compadre. Boom, in and out. The Irish goodbye.
No flies on Anthony. He's just like boom, boom. Although that might have been his longest stomp in ever.
Could have been.
Usually it's like by the time you say hello, he's gone.
This is very hot.
Yes. Very
Neal falls in love with himself.
Oh, yeah.
I used to wear a
This is very
luchador
hot.
mask on. Have you ever been on chat roulette?
No, I'm not.
No.
No.
Do they
Or see this guy? This guy knows about fucking chat roulette.
We're a fan over here
now,
on Kick. We're streaming on Kick tonight. What the fuck am I watching?
now I think it's Omegle, but it's the same thing. It's like you turn your webcam on, you roll a wheel, it puts you in a one-on-one chat with some random person across the world.
Yikes.
So you
90% of the time, it's like some guy just jerking his dick, and the camera's just pointed right at his dick. It's
that's what me and
disgusting.
Ludite met.
Like
Yeah.
you win.
But then you just click roll, and then you get a new person
With a new dick.
Yeah.
with a new dick, a new person.
He's doing it lefty, the next guy, and you know.
There was so
It's an
many dicks. Oh, it was terrible. But sometimes you would get like a random guy in like Russia that hand makes guitars or something. Like it was really cool.
But that
But
wasn't
that's what-
the usual. That was kind of the exception.
There were a lot of people. There were a lot of real people on there. You could have a conversation with real people. You just had to click through a few dicks, for sure.
Get some few.
Roll the wheel of dick. Spin the wheel.
If you're lucky, you get a cool person.
You paid your money, you take your chances.
Yeah, those were the dark internet days. I'd go
That gives
over
me
to
an
like,
idea, though. Someone should make like
no.
like lucha mask for the head of your penis.
Oh.
pretty hard to recognize.
Go from 619 to 69.
Yeah, it'll bring back chat roulette into prominence.
Yeah, I wore a white luchador mask, and I just changed my name to the White Power Ranger, and it was a fun time. I just fucked with people. I actually made like a really long time friend off chat roulette.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's the first time I've ever heard of that.
You're like,
Yeah.
man, this guy's really jacking it well. I think we're gonna be fine.
You know what, buddy?
I got
Get
this
in my
idea
black
for a
book.
little lucha mask, and I tell you what.
Well, honestly, there was in chat roulette, but the history of us even podcasting, we were all on an old message board back in the day in 2000. And then we started the wrestling podcast in 2005, but it was just a group of us on a message board, which I don't think exists. I mean, message boards exist, but not as much. But I don't think the platform that we were on even exists anymore.
Well, guys, I got a split. Maru is crying because we got fireworks in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Okay, banana.
I do want to bring up Dick Toes real quick.
Dick Toes.
So I got an email the other day about a movie called Dick Toes. And it's a little person and these two women, they're vampires. And then this is all it says about it. A kung fu action comedy horror musical about a private eye with 10 dicks for toes.
Of course.
And so I was like, absolutely, I will talk about this. So I'm interviewing the man behind Dick Toes this Saturday here on the podcast. I'm like, this has to happen. I will.
Dick Toes on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't know anything else about it, but just that even the name, okay, Dick Toes. But when they added the description, I was like, all right, this has to happen. So that'll be this Saturday. Lee Dimbarbre. I'm sorry, completely butchered your name, I'm sure. I'm just gonna call him Lee Dick Toes. No, I'll call him by his real name, but it'll be cool.
Richard Toes.
I'm kind of afraid now that I'm thinking, especially after all that chat roulette talk. I'm thinking this guy comes on, he's just like a chat rouletter. He's like, we're talking about Dick Toes, and
I'm excited.
And then he comes on, he goes, Neal, you know the difference between Dick and Toes? You go,
like,
no.
oh, buddy, what's going on here?
You want to see a dick toe?
Neal, you know the difference between Dick and Toes? What's the difference between Dick and Toes? I'm not going to show you my toes.
Yeah, I don't know how effective having Dick Toes would be. Like,
at times the fun.
I don't know, like what the benefit? I don't. Maybe there is no benefit. I guess
this little thing you went all night long.
It's better than having testicles on your toes because that would be very painful.
I mean, I have a lot of questions. Are they toes as long as dicks? Or are they dicks as long as toes?
And are they all like usable?
Yeah, like sexually? Yeah, they all perform.
Yeah.
God, that would be exhausting. Exhausting. Like, how do I keep up with this? And I go for my daily milking.
This little piggy went to market. Little piggy stayed home.
I'm so interested. It's like it's a good title. Real good title.
Yeah. So I'm totally nuts. And next week, Morgan Thompson Milam will be on. I was there too. She's never been on the show before, so that'll be really cool. And ever since I mentioned it, like there's all kinds of people telling me what a cool person she is. She's in all kinds of genre horror movies, so that looks like a fun time.
Fuck yeah.
And a lot of other people lined up. Lawrence Harvey's going to be coming on soon. Dylan Mars Greenberg. July, I'm starting to put together Slasher Month. And so far we have Christy Angus, who is one of the most memorable deaths in all Friday the 13th history. It's Jason X, the frozen head death.
Oh, that was cool.
And I just set this up. It was pretty cool. Tommy McLaughlin, director of Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, which is many people's favorite Friday the 13th movie.
Damn, got a lineup.
Yes. Isaac Esben. Yeah, a lot of cool people. So what you do is you got to subscribe, hit that little bell icon, then you'll get a notification every time we're live. That's how you do it. All right. Oh shit, Part 6 director. That's right, Shannon. Our buddy Shannon. I'm glad Shannon's around. He's a good guy. I'm gonna get Shannon to call in sometime. I don't think he's never been on the show. He's a long time listener, but never been on the show. So Jim Krut was on earlier, and I didn't even know this when I set him up, but it was almost 11 years ago today. It was June 14th. I hosted the Dawn of the Dead reunion panel in Atlantic City that he was on. That's where I met him. So that was a cool time. June 14th. That was a cool convention. It was Bizarre AC. It was held in a casino in Atlantic City, and one of the events was Bizarre Bites, and it was like some like sort of famous chef from the area, and he made all this weird stuff, like stuff out of tongue, stuff out of ants, kidneys, all these different weird things, and Rocky Mountain oysters. It's my first time ever trying Rocky Mountain oysters. And Annabelle was there with me. She wouldn't try the Rocky Mountain, but I was like, I'm gonna try everything. And so they seated us with this other couple, and it was like in sort of this fancy restaurant on the top of the casino, and I was sort of intoxicated at the time, so I started to teabag the Rocky Mountain oysters at the table.
You would.
I mean, and then the other people at the table didn't seem very impressed with that. They're just kind of like, what are we doing? What was happening?
They just don't know true love.
Yeah.
Wait, those are the testicles of what animal?
Well,
yeah. Not to say I was not a fan. Not a fan. Not so much the taste, but the consistency. You bit into it, it was like damp sawdust.
And he never called you afterwards.
And then I start to think, what's in them? And then you're like, what am I doing here at this point?
I'm not eating anything that they have on Fear Factor. That's that's not a delicacy. That's disgusting. Then I would bite that. Delicious. I'd get so much sympathy pain. I would immediately feel my own nuts hurt. I'd be like, get it out.
What if you were in a plane crash with Joe Rogan?
No,
would I eat his testicles? Yes.
We haven't eaten it. We haven't eaten it now. We're really hungry here. Yeah.
With Joe Rogan, I would eat his testicles. Yes.
Good point. Very good. Very good.
You get in a plane crash with Joe Rogan, suddenly you're on Fear Factor.
What is that? Oh, that must be a question actually for Tommy. Cheech and Chong meet Jason pitch. Oh, that's interesting.
That was a good one. I wish they would have done that.
The tongue was really good. To say tongue tacos, that was good. Beef and kidney pie was good.
Try not to eat anything that piss comes out of them as a rule.
The thing right there. Crickets were not particularly good.
No?
Crickets taste like the husk off like a popcorn.
The lizards I had as a kid seemed to like them, but
so it's not that they really tasted bad. It tasted like something you would just spit out because it's stuck in your teeth. It's just like a pointless thing to chew on. But anyway, Rogan's oysters must be like grapes by now. That's very true.
Rogan.
Or raisins, I guess.
Yeah. 2 scoops.
The ice bath.
All right. You got any plugs, Mr. Luddite?
That confessions book came out, but it's the last one for now.
Very cool. Congratulations. How many books you have out now, Luddite?
Altogether, I have stories in 10 books.
Sweet. So those are anthologies, right? So it's like a sort of a similar idea. It's like different writers put together stories and then they're put together as an anthology.
I'm 6 in the last year and then 5 years before, I did a bunch of years ago too with people.
All right, very cool. And Luddite is actually writing some lyrics for an Arbor Day song.
Oh, you want to put all of the lyrics in your box?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you pick and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Johnny Cakes. Do you like it when I call you Johnny Cakes?
It's all right. You call. It's so long now, right? I mean, fuck.
Yeah. I probably should have asked sooner than like 15 years later if it's okay if I call you that. At that point, it's kind of like, does it really matter if I don't like it?
Yeah, exactly. It's all right. Yeah.
All right.
I have many nicknames on the net.
Oh, I gotta figure out who won this prize too.
Yeah. Who gets to eat one of the losers?
Let me let's figure out. I think there's like random number generators probably, right? You know, I could have figured this all out beforehand, but all right. It was a last minute idea. The prizes are in here. We got Friday the 13th stickers because tomorrow is Friday the 13th. What's your favorite Friday the 13th film? Adrian. Or Ludite, both of you. Or the chat as well.
I kind of like X.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, not many people say X is their favorite.
It's one of them. I mean,
how about you, AJ?
Freddy versus Jason.
Really? Wow. Those are two I would not pick. I like this though. All right. I was gonna pick. I know my picks are probably like ones that most people say, but I always like 2 and 4. I like the bag over the head. I think it's creepy. And 4, I think it's just a good movie. But all right,
the bag was in the town that dreaded sundown before it was ever in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, I know it's still cool.
Bags are easy to find.
That's very true.
What can we say?
Let's see here. All right. So the top fans this week, we've got a Dustin Nance at 8, Pepe Poteet at 7, Bobby Loathes You at 6, Shannon at 5, Madman at 4, John Reddy here at number 3, Dave Deadman at 2, and Vagina Wrinkle at number 1. So we're going to pick randomly from the top 3, I think. We'll win the prize. So I've got a random generator here. I'm going to share it on the screen so no one thinks I'm cheating. All right.
Does it have a visualization?
Max number 3. I'll work on this in the future so it's a little more. It's a little cooler. But I'm gonna hit this roll the die because I think a die is cool because I like D&D. All right, here we go. It's rolling. Number 2. Who is that? Dave Deadman, I believe.
Yeah.
Dave Deadman. Dave Deadman, you have won the Friday the 13th stickers and an autographed Arbor Day flyer from me and Terrible Troy. He's in Canada. I gotta pay shipping to Canada. It's like a buck.
A Canadian buck.
Yeah, it's true. I'll just run it up to Canada. Not that far. So I was only in Canada once. It's not a very interesting story, but I was with Jason Mitten, and we were at Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival. We drove up to Niagara Falls and spent a romantic evening. Niagara Falls. Then we drove up to Toronto, and if I used to travel a lot with Jason Mitten back in the day, and he's a big snob when it comes to hotels. And so we get to the hotel. First of all, Toronto had just legalized weed, and the whole place it was like weed fog over the whole thing. But so he didn't like that. We get to the hotel, and the hotel just reeks of weed. And we get to the room, and he's like, "I'm not staying here." I'm like, "We just got here." And he's like, I'm gonna. So he looked up and he could get the room back that we had in Buffalo, which was like this fancy lad place. So we drove all up to Toronto, like 6 hours, to drive all the way back to Buffalo because he didn't like the hotel.
You
So
pulled out of Canada.
So I did absolutely nothing in Canada but sit in the car and we drove. So.
Oh no!
You're like, well, that was Canada.
Yeah, that was a good time, Jason. Like, can't we get some like something to eat, some poutine or something? Maybe, I don't know.
What's he gotta get sweet?
I don't know. I mean, it was my thing about hotels. If it's got a bed, it's like not like ridden with bed bugs, and you got a shower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. I can sleep.
No bugs, no blood stains, no weird smells, no shaved hair on stuff.
Yeah.
Like as
typical
long as
stuff.
that stuff's not there, I'm okay.
It's really how much time you spending in there. The idea was we were going to go around and look around Toronto, but anyway, it didn't happen.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
he's a tortured soul.
I was just thinking, if I've seen him since then, I don't know. Because we did Once in Future. I think I haven't seen him since Once in Future Smash though.
Oh, that was the last time I saw him.
Yeah, Mr. Mitten. But yeah, I went to England with him. We went to that was a good time. We rented a flat. That's what they're called there, which was cool. And but it said it was in the heart of London, and it was like an hour and a half tube ride from London.
Gotcha.
Which the first day it's like, oh, it's all right. We're on the tube. But like we were there for 7 days. It was a real bummer. Like,
is Neal gone? Or is it just me?
So like back to our flat.
Okay.
Like that's really exactly what I want to do. Like
you cut out there, Neal.
Yeah. So we were at a festival at Fright Fest. So it's like you're watching movies for 10 hours. Then it's like, now we got to get on the subway for an hour and a half. Like that's exactly what you want to do, right?
You're fighting like a couple the whole way back. Because I want to sit down. I don't want to hold on to the pole. Like so tired at that point.
But what made it all right was I was really big at that time. It's probably like 360, but there was an all-night doner kebab place like right next to our flat, so we'd stop and get a whole bunch of food and go eat. So then it wasn't so bad. Like, eat a bunch of food at 3 a.m. before you go to sleep.
360 is so wild. Just knowing you and being like, imagine 360. Like,
yeah, it was 2 of me. It's like double my weight.
Yeah, 2 of you. That's nuts. It's crazy.
So
you've come a long way.
Yeah, thank you. So I actually had my my annual checkup 2 days ago. Everything's fine. But my my new doctor, she told me I plateaued. I do lots of cardio every day. And so she said, like, you plateaued, you're not going to really go. So she suggested that I start doing weight training to go to the next level of fitness. I was like, all right. So now I'm going to be like Jack now. Next time you see me, I'm going to be like Joe Rogan or something. But I don't know. We'll see. All right. AJ, do you have any plugs? You don't want people to follow you, but anything you would like to mention?
Don't follow me. Don't look at me. No, but you can.
That is one of the rules. When AJ joined, I'm not allowed to look him in the eyes.
Don't look at me, and then nobody does.
Like when we were making funk. No one was
never talk about Fight Club.
I don't exist. Okay, I'm not really here. But no, I mean, I'm on Instagram at Lens for Face. I've got a couple movies that I'm working on right now. I've got Good Bad Things on Hulu. So check that out. Stay tuned. A lot more shit coming.
Very cool. And we have a lot of fun ideas for a lot of Without Your Head stuff. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
all right.
Excited.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be heading out. Thank you guys for tuning in, subscribing, all that stuff.
Take care.
I miss motels. All right. Well, Vagina. I mean, I'll meet you at the motel here.
Go to a Motel 6. You won't miss them long. There'll be a police standoff within 45 minutes, and you'll be like, all right, take me back. Take me back to La Quinta.
I've only been at Motel 6 once, and when we get there, the room they gave us was occupied. Like there was people there. I was just like, what the hell is this?
Not a good experience.
No, and then it wasn't a Motel 6, it was it was a $35 motel, which you can't find really anymore. But this was when I was at Boston Underground Film Festival, and I found this real cheap motel. I was like, I don't care, I'm just gonna be there one night. And so, but I got to the room, and like it was just shit. Not actual shit, but the toilet wasn't flush, and there was pizza and like chat and like food. I'm like, come on, man. So I had to go down. They had to go give me a new room, but it was not a pleasant experience.
So we do not miss motels.
Exactly.
They got rough.
All right. We're gonna play us out here with The Tomb of Nick Cage, and we'll be back. We'll be back all the time, so just keep checking out Without Your Head here. All right, good night, everybody.
Peace.
Good to have you back, AJ. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.